Hey. Shame. Okay, good. Son of a bitch. All right, hello, everyone. I am being cast in red a little bit. Wow. Does this look like really overexposed? That's kind of weird. Yeah, I look so bright. All right, well, maybe that's just going to be how today's stream is. Jesus Christ. I look like I'm the sun right now. Hello. Sorry, very distracted by technical issues. How's it going, everybody? Hope that you're okay. Before stream even started, Slaps Hungry Bear is coming in here with the 4 tier 1 subs. Thank you very much. They said, oh boy, here I go subbing again. Here you go subbing again. Thank you. I really appreciate it. It is a time when I now have to be like very focused on making sure that at a certain time of the month there is a certain amount of money in my bank, you know? So I appreciate it. Okay, where's my chat? Let's see. So yes, other people who are also here. Decoy Duck, hello. Halfling Rogue, Morningstar, Ace Strider, hello. How's it going, everybody? Sisukara, Dwoozle. It's just the lava in the dragon cave. True. Hey, Summerstar. And then there's a couple people over in the YouTube chat as well. Dark Canuck says, a pleasant place to spend my snowy Sunday afternoon. I have not gotten much snow here yet this year. We'll see how it goes. Perhaps we will have more. It's been fucking windy, though. What's up, But All is Lost at 404 Cat and Paul Hack and Spacer's Choice. Hello. I am a shining star. Day off, high five. Yeah, I don't got snow at all. You don't get snow at all where you're at, Dwoozle? Where's that expensive lava wall at? I know. Wouldn't that be great? It would be so warm in here if I had a lava wall. It would just be like constantly very toasty. What's up, Raccoon Pope? How's it going? I'm sitting here with my coffee, and I'm trying to decide whether I'm gonna fuck around with my camera right now while you're all here. It's like the exposure is just a little bit high. Oh, we do get snow, it's just that we don't got it now. I don't know if we will this winter. We'll see. Yeah, that is kind of the thing. Like, is it gonna happen this year? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. We're a wreck today. I am sad. Truthfully, Horties, the being in an apartment alone thing is starting to kick in, you know? After being just kind of mostly busy for the week. And I've also got this like weird pain that's been going on since like Wednesday or Thursday, and that's getting kind of annoying and concerning. Like, all right, cool. So that's kind of what's going on with me as a human person. Actually, a fungus, hello. Welcome in. It's an apocalypse when Western Washington gets snow. No one knows how to drive, and the roads only sometimes get salted. Yeah, even in a place where it does snow basically every winter, people are... It's crazy how, like, people just forget how to drive. Like, have you not driven in snow before? Like, what is wrong with you? Podcasts for the win when you're alone. Yeah, I've been listening to Game of Thrones Abridged by Alt Schwift X, you know? How the fuck do people get snow everywhere else but me? I don't like snow, so I would like to trade with you. I would live in a place where there is no snow, and that would be great. Yeah, kitty litter sales go through the roof. Oh, goodness gracious. The Well, There's Your Problem podcast is great. I am so particular about my podcasts. Like, I don't know, like, I don't enjoy them as much as I enjoy, like, a one person is talking kind of experience, you know? It's very cold in Chicago right now, but no snow. I'm like a husky, though, so I don't mind. Fair enough, Jimmy Nails. Oh, gosh. Yeah, maybe I will dig around with my camera, because I really do feel like a little overexposed, but I'll keep talking to you guys. I'm gonna take a drink of my coffee and then fiddle with my camera for a second and see if I can fix this. But in the meantime, how have you all been doing over this past couple of days? I have been like mostly just the working, and then like last night and today it's like the sadness has kicked in, but I'm like, okay, this is cool. Like, this is an opportunity to start using my various therapy skills that I've acquired, you know? Is that coffee? Yeah, it's coffee. Delicious coffee. I work at a pet supply store. We do actually sell a lot of clay litter when it's about to snow. Yeah. Light, medium, or dark? So I drink Dunkin' Donuts brand coffee grounds because we tried a lot of different types of coffee grounds and they just weren't very good. And we're trying like various different kinds of fairly expensive coffees, and none of them were very good. And like we just ended up settling on like Dunkin' Donuts brand coffee that you brew at home. Happens to be pretty delicious. And then you get the Coffee Mate Irish cream flavor, or like Italian cream flavor of creamer. No sugar, just whatever sweetener is in the creamer. And that's it. That's the coffee. Tries not to judge since I live in the land of coffee up here in Washington. Here in the Midwest, the coffee selection is garbage. So I don't know what to tell you. It's annoying watching people not know how to drive in snow here in DC. Yeah, fair enough. Oh, sorry, I only drink top of the morning midnight oil blend now. Yeah, can you afford Jacksepticeye's fucking coffee brand? I've never looked into it, but I assume it's expensive. Okay. I'm just gonna kind of point my microphone over here, which is where my camera is, so that I can hopefully be somewhat heard while I'm over here just trying to fuck with the exposure a little bit. How do I do anything on this camera? It's a struggle. Oh my goodness. Still so white. I know I'm messing with color temperature right now and not exposure. I promise we'll be done with this at some point. I will eventually give up if I cannot get it to do what I need it to do. Why is it not letting it? It gets into this like fucking mode where it won't actually let me adjust the exposure. Like it's grayed out and I don't know how to fix it. So that's pretty irritating. Let me change the goddamn exposure. Motherfucker. Alright, apparently... Oh, God. I'm gonna give up. And apparently you need a whole fucking manual in order to figure out how to operate the goddamn menu in there. But whatever. I guess that's a little bit better. After changing the color temperature, it's a little bit better. Now I look more like a person with skin. Cool. Lux, did you not read the manual? It didn't come with a manual because I got the camera as a gift secondhand. So it did not come with a manual. Lux Eterna, true. You're being so difficult with me. Lux, I think there are two lighting problems. First, you're white as fuck. Second, Lux literally means light. So I think you're fucked. True. True. I think this is better now, though. We're doing okay. Oh, joke's on you. I can't read. How to unlock exposure setting. Samantha, what's up, says we're supposed to be getting snow where I live in the UK and I'm still waiting for it. So far, all we're getting is rain. That's kind of a bummer. I do wish that we had more rain this fall. Just get blackout curtains and put them in front of the camera. Absolutely. That would be perfect. Yeah, I think we actually look okay as long as I don't like lean too far in. Maybe I just need to move my lights back a little bit. Maybe that's what needs to happen. I'm gonna do that really quick and see if that helps. Actually, I think that's it. Okay, I just moved my lights back a smidge. That's a little bit better. Yay. Okay. Anyway, reduce the exposure of the face. Smartphone. Halfling Rogue's hands are full of cat, so I might type in her stead. Very nice. I couldn't find a tutorial on YouTube. I haven't looked into it yet. Because like most of the time I kind of like just get it into position and just leave it. But now that I've moved and like changed the lighting situation in the whole room, it just requires different things. But no, I actually think that this is like the best it's looked in a long time. It's probably just the gigantic photography lights that are blowing out the exposure. So no worries. We're done with the technical bullshit. Thank you all for being patient with me. We are going to do actual stream type news stuff today. So don't fret if you're hoping for some news, because we are going to talk about news. I am not just going to waste a bunch of your time being a huge fucking dork. Yay. Good morning, Soy Boy. How's it going? I truly am at the point where I need a third monitor. It's getting a little bit excessive as a streamer person, but can't complain. I'm having a great time. Honestly, like consistently, I'm like, man, I feel like shit. And then I'm like, I can go stream and there is going to be like at least a handful of people who just want to hang out. Definitely going to start implementing some of the suggestions that you all have been having about having more chill streams. Like, we always try to kind of chill at the beginning here, but we do want to maybe have more time that we spend actually, like, watching something funny, like laughing together, like chilling out. And so I like to do that probably at least once a month. And that's kind of what we did on Thursday when we came back. So today we're going to do the usual thing, which is like we start kind of being casual and whatever, and then the news will happen. And what a news. I missed so much stuff. I had to be very like specific about what I wanted to include today, because there was a bunch of shit that happened over the past week or two that we haven't been covering news here. You could do what Demon Mama does and have like cooking dragon streams or something, IDK. I just don't want to rip the idea completely whole cloth off of Demon Mama, you know? Like, I like the idea of doing something like that. That's what Slay the Dragon was about. But I don't want to do You Laugh, You Lose, because I don't want the point is that, like, I don't want the point to be that I'm trying not to laugh, you know? Hello, Jules. Welcome to the website. How's it going? Also, hello, Mersh. I'm covered in cat hair, but I'm back. I've been receiving a lot of cat pictures from my partner, and it's making me a little bit jealous. Just a little bit. Can we get some mitters in chat for my boy? He's still going strong and everything, but he's not here. DM wasn't always too graceful when it came to balancing good vibes with dooming, a big reason why I stopped watching her and politics for a while. Yeah, I don't hang out in Demon Mama streams very often. I think I did mention this quite recently, actually, is like, I I cover the news as my job. Like, so I talk about it with you all while we're here streaming. I read about it on Twitter, and I read articles and stuff about this stuff as my job. Like, all that time on Twitter is technically unpaid. Like, that's why like the hourly amount that I make like during a live stream isn't representative of like an actual wage, like hours to money ratio, because I spend a lot of time doing research. But yeah, like I spend a lot of time working on a lot of that stuff anyway, and having even more of that in the time that I'm trying to relax. Like if I'm watching a live stream, it's because I want to like chill and hang out. And I just can't do that like in my free time and the time that I'm spending like working. What about still calling it Slay the Dragon, but change the idea so we can all laugh together? Yeah, that's a good idea, because I like the branding of Slay the Dragon, but yeah, something about where like the point is to enjoy ourselves. I've been mentioning Pink Trombone a little bit in the like Discord server, which by the way, if you're here and you're not a member of the Discord server, we have a Discord server and you should hang out there. Do you hang out in Jess and Xena streams? I don't hang out in Jess and Xena streams, but I am starting to hang out in Jess and Xena's Discord more, like in their little hanging out spaces that they have. Like I did that last night because I was such a sad boy last night. So sad. So I went and joined a call over there and like talked about World of Warcraft for like 3 hours, which was great. I don't play World of Warcraft anymore, but I was talking about it for 3 hours, which is, you know, that just goes to show how much of a thing it like embeds itself in your brain. I'm just terrible at actually hanging out in Discord. Yeah, I'm so bad at being active in servers. I want to figure out a way to make our server more enjoyable to be in or whatever. Yes, like the stream. Feel free to like the stream. You guys see Matt Walsh without a beard? No, I did not see Matt Walsh without a beard. Is it? Where do I find it? Oh boy. Matt Walsh with no beard. I know that that's a very tiny picture. It's hard to see. We're sacrificing a bit of quality by zooming in this far. Is there another... Excuse me. Real Smeagol vibes, says the first comment. Okay, here we go. Ignore the beardless picture of me he shares from this. Wow, he really has like such a soft, undefined chin. Yeah, I think that it's like, hold on, like, let's get a regular picture of Matt Walsh. It's like they use the cutting lines right here, like where there's beard and then there's like a clean skin line. They like use the angle down there to like make it seem as though there is definition to the chin. But no, it turns out Matt Walsh is not a member of the Aryan master race with that weak fucking chin. Just for comparison's sake, let's find a... Oh no, he just has such a big bushy beard that it seems like it just like completely hides the fact that there's nothing going on underneath there. Oh boy, he like shaped the beard in a certain way that implies he has a jawline somewhere in the mix. By the way, I have no problem making fun of someone like Matt Walsh's appearance because he's a fucking cunt and I hate him. Sorry. It's like he stapled a merc into his face to cover up his not chin. Much like his politics, his jawline is all smoke and mirrors. Oh boy. Some bangers over in the YouTube chat right now. It's a Milady boy. Does he look like a scrote? I feel like he would look like a scrote. Yeah, he's not quite wrinkly. I don't think Matt Walsh is one of the people who dressed up like a woman to try to get kicked out of a women's bathroom. Was that Fungus? Or like, I thought that was like Steven Crowder. Beta, true. Shaming Matt Walsh is morally correct. Yeah, I thought that was Crowder. What would Ben Shapiro look like with a Matt Walsh beard? That is a good question. But what if we tried to find, like, has someone done this in like an AI generator? I think this is the best he can do, is like this right here. Oh my god, my stomach is growling. I think this is like what he's got. So there you go. That's Matt. I mean, it's not like a big beard, but there's Ben Shapiro with a beard, or like some facial hair, stubble stuff. There are thirst compilations of Ben Shapiro flexing for the camera. It's awful. Ben Shapiro with a beard looks like a toddler drew it on. Yeah, but didn't Ben Shapiro also have like a 5 o'clock shadow type look? Was there a picture of that in here? I don't think I see one of the 5 o'clock shadow. Unfortunate. Because I think 5 o'clock shadow is a little bit less than the picture that we were looking at just then. But, oh well. What's this about MTG and vibrators? We will get to it, okay? That's going to be the star pupil of today's class. So we're going to get to it later in the stream. If Ben was a cat boy and not an asshole. Femboy Shapiro. He's just so, like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to make fun of him for being short, because that's not what I want. But, like, he has short guy vibes. Like, it's not that him being short is bad. It's that he has short guy brain. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's like, oh, I'll get you. Yeah, like Napoleon syndrome. Yeah. That's the first time I've ever done that voice, by the way. So I'm going to have to listen to that back later and see how that sounded. He's got an inferiority complex. Napoleon syndrome. Chihuahua syndrome. Oh, gosh. And I will admit that he's pretty good at the violin, you know. But, man, I felt really good the day that I realized that Ben Shapiro and I have the same job. I was like, oh, he has no more legitimacy than I do. Like, I am just sitting here in front of a camera. I actually do more work than Ben Shapiro does when it comes to producing his YouTube show, because I only outsource the editing, like, probably at this point, like 70% of the editing. I do a good portion, and like all the rest of the work in the back end, like I bet that the only thing he does is show up and talk shit about trans people and then fucking leave, and then everybody else, like every other aspect of it, is taken care of by a team of people. You don't cater to boomers, so that's got to be nice. I mean, I don't hate having older people around, but you know. I think we're going to have to change the title when we actually are ready to start talking about the news, because this is not drawing in nearly as many people as I would have thought. Not his violin playing sucks too? I saw some violin players react to his playing. Is he not good? His vibrato is garbage and his tone is mid. Okay, fair enough. I've only heard it like once, I think. Oh, the boomer edits and shit. Yeah, I guess he does kind of do. They are really boomer edits. It's a mindset, not an age. I stand corrected on the boomer subject. I love watching clips of right-wingers debating each other. I saw one with Jordan Peterson and it was hilarious. Who was he debating? Whomst was he debating? Two Set Violin did a breakdown. It was funny as hell. Oh, right-wingers debating themselves. I've seen, yeah, like I feel like I remember seeing, was it Mitt Romney debating himself? Was one back in the day, way back in the day. But yeah, Jordan Peterson debating himself by saying things that are contradictory in the future and the past. No, it's okay, Fungus. I also had a day this week that I felt really stupid, and my partner has also reportedly been like feeling very stupid lately, and I'm kind of like, you know, wondering what's going to happen to the future of technological growth and humanity if we just like continue to let this virus that's causing brain damage continue to run amok. Like, if you have brain fog after COVID, that means you have brain damage. Like, it just means you have brain damage, point blank period. And it like could get better, but like it might not. It might be something that shows up on a brain scan for the rest of your life, where it's like, oh yeah, no, we can clearly see that these areas of the brain used to be healthy and aren't anymore. Yeah. That's what the thing about like when people say like I'm having memory issues and fatigue and like having a hard time doing my math and problem solving shit that I normally would be able to do, like that's brain damage, you know? So like, yeah, I wonder sometimes what's going to happen. Like mistakes are being made more often in industries where it might matter a lot, you know? If you're an electrician and you just forget something in the course of your work, it could be a very big problem, like a cascading effect. Idiocracy is getting closer and closer to reality. I think that the spirit behind Idiocracy is pretty eugenicist, so I don't like to cite it very much. Time to go buy Brain Force so that I can be smarter than BRB. True. This is why I am so fucking weird about COVID. Like, this is why I'm gonna spend a probably pretty lonely winter by myself in my apartment working on myself and my hobbies, because I don't trust anybody to be safe. Like, I like see someone I know in the store and they're not wearing a mask, and I'm like, okay, well, you're someone I'm never gonna hang out with. Like, depends on how you define brain damage. Fatigue, loss of concentration, memory issues are all also stress symptoms. Yeah, but like in the sense that it's not just it's not transient. Like, it's persistent chronic symptoms. But also, yeah, I mean, like, stress can cause physical damage to your body, so I don't see why it can't cause physical damage to your brain. Like, having a bunch of cortisol in your brain all the time is maybe not great for your synapses. I don't actually know. But like, if you are persistently having issues with those areas of function, like what I'm trying to say is like, if you can't think the same anymore, like if your memory is bad and it didn't used to be bad, because all of those things happen in the physical structures of your brain, you can pretty easily just say that like some physical thing has changed about my brain to make it not work the way that it wanted, the way that I wanted it to, you know? So like there has been physical trauma to the brain of some kind, because COVID we're just going to do a fucking COVID moment here. Okay. We're early in the stream still. I have decided that we're going to talk about COVID because COVID, yeah, it can cause brain damage. Like the way that viruses reproduce is they insert themselves into your cells, and they like use the goop inside your cells to make more copies of them, and then they like kill the cell from the inside, basically. Or like sometimes they just multiply inside the cell until the cell like breaks open and like explodes, basically. And COVID can do that to all of the cells in your body. Typically, it's like, okay, it's like the lung cells or something, like something specific. Although it's been more obvious with COVID, like, okay, it's not primarily a respiratory problem. It's primarily a cardiovascular problem, but it has a respiratory phase. So we're having like, oh, it's attacking the blood cells and stuff. An example of it attacking the blood cells and stuff is that we're having an increase in premature and stillborn babies because it attacks the blood cells in the placenta. Placenta like basically rots out inside, and then the baby dies because it can't get any nutrients. So yeah, and it can do that to your bone cells. It can do that to your muscle cells. Like it can just do that to all of your cells. And the ramifications of this are so unknown. Like we have no idea. I have 3 shunts and a platinum coil in my brain. I fear COVID might knock out my power grid. Yeah, no shit. I've had multiple brain aneurysms. Oof. But so the other thing is also that you have like a 1 in 22 chance of having a major cardiovascular event in the first year after you've had COVID, which is not good. And like I'm not sure how that statistic changes with compounding reinfections, or what happens to your chance of cardiovascular risk after that first like 12 months. But like a major cardiovascular event means heart attack or stroke or blood clot, which are all immediate medical emergencies, and people just drop dead of those, including people who are like 28, which is the age that I am. So my family got COVID, but I never did. I think smoking weed every day for the past 3 years has encased my lungs in a shield of resin. I actually have read, A. Strider, a study was done, or not, perhaps not a study, but some experiments were being done, and it was basically showing that COVID was having a really hard time reproducing in the presence of cannabinoids in like petri dishes. You know, it wasn't like they were doing experiments of like who smokes weed and who doesn't, and who's catching COVID and who doesn't. It's just like in a petri dish, COVID was having a really difficult time replicating itself inside, like with cannabinoids around it. So I do wonder that sometimes, like if I were to figure out like who amongst my friends and stuff have caught it or haven't caught it, and like which one catches which one catches COVID and gets more sick more or whatever. Hey, Wellington Smith. Yeah, COVID does bad stuff to blood cells, arteries, and heart tissue along with the rest of your body. It's so bad. I took all of my vaccines and boosters, but I still got COVID. Yeah, because the point of the vaccine is not that you don't get COVID. Like, the point of the vaccine is it teaches your immune system to, it's like your immune system is a bouncer, and the vaccine is coming in and showing the bouncer a picture of the virus and saying, hey, if you see this guy in here, kick him the fuck out. And then your immune system is like, all right, cool. And then 2 weeks later, you come by again with another vaccine and say, hey, just a reminder, this is the guy. If you see him, you need to kick him out. And your immune system's like, okay, no, for sure, I got it now. So you catch it by being exposed to a certain amount of concentration of viral load. And then your body like recognizes it and says, hey, get the fuck out of here. And that is what your immune response is. Like, your immune response is your body trying to be like, whoa, get this thing out of here. Like, that's what a fever is about, you know? I asked an AI to do Ben Shapiro with Matt's beard. Oh my goodness. That is weird. All right, cool. CBD helps. THC can harm, especially in vapes. Smoking is less bad, but still not good. How do you mean THC can harm? My GF blazes at least as much as I do, and she's always out of the house. Neither of us have gotten COVID yet. Interesting. I find myself dissociating even when trying to actually do something I enjoy. Little time skips. It's very disruptive and hard to do anything when I can't keep track of time or what I'm doing. And I know I caught COVID at my old job because of how anti-vax and anti-mask they all were. That sucks. Like, is this like a new symptom you're experiencing? That sucks a lot. Do edibles, smoking the buds carries a risk of fungal infections for the immune compromised? Just like a nice weed conversation there for a minute. I just got over my first bout with COVID, and of course it happened 3 weeks after quitting alcohol and cigarettes. Well, hypothetically, you can breathe better, Jade of Awesome. Vaping is actually way healthier than smoking, but smoking is only harmful because of all the carbon you breathe in. It's fine if you don't do it constantly every day, usually. I mean, this conversation is not really relevant to me because I live in a place where it's not legal. So, you know, Kansas is just like surrounded on basically all sides by places that have legal weed at various degrees. And I'm just sitting here like, oh well. Yeah. Oh, just out here chilling. Kansas is weirdly conservative. Like, it just truly is a very strangely conservative place. Oh, interesting. The Dark Canuck says, my brain surgeon said that my weed smoking may have been the reason I had full recovery from the brain aneurysms. We got a lot of weed users in the chat. Don't do weed, kids, is my official stance. That's why I haven't caught it. I haven't been sober since 2016. I just want to share that I recently heard the phrase California sober, and it fucking cracked me up so much. I laughed so much because I was like, because I had never heard it before, but I immediately understood what it meant. Like, it was just, it's like just one of those phrases where you're just like, ha, 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 I know what that means. All the weed smokers are like, oh, I'm going to go use some toke right now. Like a California stop at a stop sign? Is that a rolling stop? Is that what a California stop is? That's not nearly as funny. The devil's lettuce, true. Oh my gosh, I gotta drink some water. I've been talking for like 45 minutes. Oh, you should drink water too. Hail hydrate. THC is able to reconnect severed neurons. What the fuck? Is that true? It's not even a rolling stop. It's a slight slowdown, whip around the corner, and then blast off down the road again. No brakes needed. Depending on the intersection. But you probably shouldn't make a habit of that. We have vape shops that sell weed and kratom in Virginia, along with conventional vapes, etc. They're on almost every street corner. I think that, like, when I go get vape juice, they have, I think they sell, like, Delta 8. Is that what that shit's called? Which I just have no desire to try. It just seems like it is basically, I don't know, like it's like K2, like none of this fake weed shit. I'm not interested in trying it. It just doesn't seem like, I mean, it's like people have been smoking weed for like decades. Like I personally know people who've been smoking weed for decades and like they're fine basically. So I feel like we would know by now if there were some major problems with regular weed. Yeah, I have no desire to go deal with like weird chemical shit that we don't know anything about. I'm having some D8 right now. How is that? Oh, Dark Canuck, are you responding to the idea that THC regrows the connections between neurons? It's a theory they're studying, and I am a subject. I get an MRI every 6 months and full body scan. You're like medically supposed to smoke weed every day to see if you can like get your brain to work better? How's that going? How many brain scans have you done that you're doing them every 6 months? Has it been going on for very long? Decades, try millennia. I meant like, Nathan, I meant like an individual person who smokes weed a lot for a number of years. Not like, I know that people have been like consuming marijuana for a long time, like cannabis for a long time. Still nowhere near as bad as tar cigs. Weed itself isn't harmful, but smoking is definitely harmful from carbon if done regularly. What is CHS, soy boy? CHS? I still smoke, but I'm always watching out for those symptoms. I suspect you need some sort of predisposition, though, because I know lots of folks who never get it. Anyway, this is a lovely conversation. In high school, we would mix tobacco and weed. We called it poppers. I think that's called a spliff. Oh, weed-induced cyclic vomiting. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, and I know there's like a rare instances where smoking weed can like bring on psychosis in certain people. I vaped for a bit and my lung capacity has not been the same since. Yeah, popper's a very different thing. Hello, Harley. Welcome to the YouTube chat. Yeah, THC can trigger latent psychosis and schizophrenia. So be careful if that's in your family history. Like, none of these things that we do are without risk. We drink alcohol, we smoke weed, we drink caffeine, you know, and all these different things are like sugar. Yeah, all these things can hurt us. Moderation is what's important. I'm trusting Halfling Rogue to adequately summarize what I miss. I've switched over to decaf coffee, and I don't even drink it every day. If I feel like, oh, it's too acidic, I don't want to drink coffee today, like I just won't. Everything is chemicals. Most things are drugs. Do everything. Don't do everything. I can't endorse that position. Can't hurt me. I'm like 90% microplastics. Right? I'm like, how much should I really worry? I mean, yes, like just because I have microplastics in me doesn't mean that I can't also die from something else, like from drinking alcohol and ruining my liver or whatever, etc. Well, yeah, so Canuck says, I was an excellent case study because I just like weed. They didn't make me quit, and it's been 3 years. I'm doing great. I'm curious, like, if you're getting MRIs done every 6 months for the past 3 years and you're trying to see if there's an effect that THC has on neurons, like, are you noticing an effect? Like, have your doctors reported any changes? Just joined, but I'm loving that the convo is about moderation. I mean, here's the thing. I struggle with moderation. I have like substance abuse problems, I would say. I don't do anything crazy or especially illegal or whatever. But like I have an issue with drinking where I just don't moderate myself very well. I'll wake up in the morning and be like, I really don't want to drink today. That's not really what I want to do. And then it'll be like 6 p.m. and I'll be like, I'm going to go get some beer though. Like, it's a struggle that I have because like the reason why people struggle with substance abuse is because their lives are like something that they want to escape. So one of the primary things about solving your addiction problem is getting your life to a place where you feel like it's worth living and it's worth being present in. If you can't do that like overnight, which most people can't, then I think it's better to have an approach where it's like, you know, you're just trying to do it in moderation, you know, like if you're drinking every day, then maybe try to just not do it every day. Like if you have one day where you don't do it, that's better than what you were doing before. And yeah, and alcohol is a depressant, so it actually makes depression worse. Yeah, I'm trying to be really aware of that. Like we're going into winter, so no one's going to be getting enough sunlight. I'm certainly not going to be going out in it and like dealing with that very much. And like drinking makes it worse, and like I'm sleeping on an air mattress, so that makes it hard. But yeah, so we have to like work on both of those things at the same time though, where we're working on making life worth living and working on our sobriety as a separate thing. My therapist suggested that I should try to keep smoking to the evenings so that my mornings don't get screwed up if I impulsively get weed first thing waking up. Yeah, like waking up in the morning and being like, I want to put whiskey in my coffee is like, I actually don't want to be like that, you know? So I tweeted about this, and if any of you are dealing with this kind of shit too, and you're just trying to work on moderation and like, you know, maybe you're like, I want to go 1 week without using the substance. And then I'll reevaluate or whatever. Like you can do that if you want. You can just say like, I won't do it tonight. I'll reevaluate tomorrow. There's an app called I Am Sober that's available on Android at the very minimum. I don't know if it's available on iPhone or whatever. But it's really good, and it mixes up the reward feedback, and it like when you set it up, you type in like, why do you want to do this? Like, why do you want to be sober? And every morning when it indicates, when it pings you to be like, are you going to make the pledge to not use today? It shows you your own words where you're like, I don't want to be the type of person who drinks every day, and I want to be able to take medicine when I need to, instead of being like, well, does this medicine interact with the alcohol? You know, like it's like there's a lot of reasons to not want to use whatever the substance is, you know? Again, I'm going to plug Healthy Gamer GG and their Discord if you have substance abuse problems. Also talk to a doctor and therapist if you have substance issues, because it's usually a sign of deeper problems you need to work out professionally. Yeah, it's definitely like I don't think that addiction is really like the underlying problem. Like, yes, I think that there is somewhat of a genetic predisposition component to addiction, but I don't think that it's like ever just that. I don't think it's ever just that. I think it's always like underlying trauma and loneliness and, you know, lack of community and stuff like that. Yeah, no worries, Dwoozle. I'll even say that trying moderation and harm reduction is way more useful than trying to hard quit. Yeah. And for me, like, I don't really love that I use nicotine, and I don't love that I drink, and I want to do both of those things less, but sometimes I can't do both at the same time, and I have to give myself that, like, space, you know, where it's like, okay, if I'm going to focus on not drinking, I can't at the same time try to quit nicotine because I'm going to be really pissed off. And like, I don't want to, like, I guess that was more of an issue when I was living with my partner. That's weird that it's in the past tense now. Okay. Because I was like, oh, if I quit nicotine, then I'm going to be like difficult to be around. And at least now I'm like by myself, you know? The hardest part is having a strong support system. Yeah, Jade of Awesome, like that is kind of the real problem. Is, you know, there's like they did the experiments where they got mice addicted to cocaine, and like basically like they gave them a water that was regular water and a water that was cocaine water, and when the rats had like stuff to do and people like other rats to be around, they would not use the cocaine water. It was only the rats that were like alone and didn't have any stimulation that were using the cocaine water. So you're a rat who needs community. Yeah, for all my clients who come with addiction, says Francois, the addiction has the function of regulating distress. Work on the distress. Yeah, like I have anxiety, so I vape. Like that's not medicine for anxiety. Arguably, I would say that using nicotine for my anxiety is better than trying to use like Klonopin for anxiety, since we now know that that can cause brain damage. We quit smoking and drinking regularly after finding a loving and supporting Buddo sport group, and now we're strong, able to throw people in, only caffeine dependent. Nice. Yeah, I'm not concerned with you being passionate about this, Violet. It is definitely tough. Like, and like, it's not just, yeah, people generally have addiction problems. Like, I think that this also is a very specific problem within the queer community. Like, I don't want to just broadly say you all are part of the queer community, because I don't actually know, like, some of you might not be. But generally, I just kind of assume that most of my audience are queer or trans or both. And we, as a community, have way more, like, statistically, I think we have more addiction problems than the average, like, compared to the regular population. So this is not just like a societally difficult thing. Is also like there are vulnerable people in our community who get like stuck in alcoholism at a pretty young age and stuff like that. And like, it's hard, like if you are underhoused and underemployed, like it might just be worth it to you to drink cheap fucking alcohol all night and not have to think about anything, and then go to sleep like soundly after drinking a bunch, and then, you know, wake up and roll the dice and do it again. Any minority who gets shit on by life will have more addiction stuff. Yeah, for sure. Like, we managed to create our own communities of queer people, but it's not like, we're still constantly getting the messaging from society that we're bad and we're unwanted. The rat utopia is good, but the study is now being called out for being pretty flawed. Okay, I haven't checked into that, but I'm interested because I use that I use that as an example a lot. My trans guy friend got addicted to alcohol at like 16, for sure. I took a trauma and recovery class for my addictions counseling license, and my teacher really tried to emphasize in their practice they hadn't ever seen pure addiction. It always comes with or from other struggles. Yeah. Did they get mice addicted to cocaine, or did a bunch of scientists just need an excuse to get cocaine? True. Wanted to say, with my last job, I had to have a nightcap in order to sleep. Only recently have I been able to go long periods of time without getting tipsy. Yeah. I'm like, it's so hard right now. Like, I would love to go into queer spaces to be around queer people and feel that sense of community, but I don't want to die by getting shot, or I don't want to die or become permanently disabled by catching COVID or any of the other fucking viruses that are going around here right now. So I just, like, I'm just gonna have to try really hard to do it in the way that I can, which is through Discord. And maybe I might have like one or two friends locally who are as careful about COVID as I am, but I don't know if that's actually the case. Like, I just don't know if I have that. Failed my nursing course a week and a half ago due to chronic health issues. I've been high every day since. I'm so sorry, Rain Raven. That sucks. They, yeah, like, they just won't give you accommodation for being disabled, or like whatever your chronic health issues are. I don't know if you identify as disabled. Learning to not rely on substances to get around dealing with my shit has been one of the best investments for me. Yeah, it's also true that physical queer spaces also involve alcohol and are inaccessible disability-wise. So online spaces are safer for me than places I feel unsafe in bars, because the presence of alcohol makes me feel unsafe. That makes sense. I'm not your therapist or your boss. Live your life how you want, and I can't make the calculation for you, but the loneliness is such a health risk factor. You have to factor those in. I mean, like, do we have any statistical information about whether, Thank you, Slaps Hungry Bears, for the tier 1 sub gifted to Rain Raven. They said, enjoy the grink, hoping things get better. Yes, also enjoy your dicks, Rain Raven. We have the dicks emoji in the website chat. By the way, if you're on the YouTube chat, we have a website chat. I'm like Vosh. I have my cool little website. Top link in the description. Excuse me. I burpy. It would be cool if we could get up to a certain amount of donations today. It's that time of the fucking month, you know. I've got bills due in the middle of the month. So... But don't worry about it if you can't afford it. Same issue with how some people in some corporate jobs use bars for parties, which is extremely harmful for those with substance issues. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, no. So Francois, have there been any studies really on the nature of like the effect of loneliness? Like, you know, if I'm seeing people in person versus whether I'm on group calls or like doing video chat with my friends, you know, like I got on group chat and talked about World of Warcraft for 3 hours last night with some people in the Jess and Xena server, and that was really great. I still kind of felt a little bit sad afterward, but I was like less sad than when I started, so that seems like it did something for me. I'm like Vosh clipped. True. I mean... I can give a long list of how living alone would be dangerous for me, though I wouldn't be totally comfy with a post that large on stream. Yeah. I'm like it's been less than a week. Okay, like on Monday morning last week, I woke up at my partner's place, and then I came over here, and then I slept here that night. It's been less than a week, and I'm like, oh boy, I'm sad. So I am aware. I'm like, okay, I need to start working on this, like not only doing things myself that I enjoy and that kind of stuff, but like, yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to do this in a balanced way. Yes, any social helps, although I haven't done any literary review on that recently. The physical does have specific things, though, like actually being able to hug people goodbye has effects. Okay, so I'm not going to be completely alone this winter. Like, to be clear, I am still going to see my partner every once in a while. So, like, I saw him briefly yesterday, got a hug. I might have gotten 2 hugs, actually. So it's like I'm not completely isolated. And I might visit with some family over the holidays, like in some limited capacities. One option that would be nice would be a support group chat at some point where we each give each other emotional space to process thoughts and feelings. As it is, this stream is great for group processing of troubling events like shitty anti-trans news. That's true. We do have like a hanging out role in the Discord that I've recently established. So the idea with that was to make it so that people can ping when they want to hang out in a group chat. So maybe that could function. I wish there were establishments for queer families to gather more. Bars and nightclubs exclude a larger whole of the community, IMO. Yeah, I was talking about that with my therapist because my younger brother is trans and he's like a teenager, and she was saying that we could like meet up with like LGBTQ family type meetup groups. And like so that we could potentially meet other people of different ages. Meeting new people also makes a difference, and seeing people in person helps with that. Meeting new people is supposed to help with you socially? Like, why? I hate meeting new people. It's like, also the statistics on shit like that, like meeting new people makes a positive difference to your mental health. Like, is that like a study of like cis hetero white people? Because yeah, if you're the default human being, then I'm sure seeing other people is better for your mental health. But like if I see people and they're like, what are you? You know, like that's not enjoyable. Also, bars can be dangerous to the asexual or aromantic communities from people hitting on them. I hadn't thought about that, but that does seem like it could be an issue for sure. I recommend Adventurers League. Playing Dungeons and Dragons with people in a good space with no commitment. I've made a lot of friends doing it, and it's a lot of fun. Also family friendly. Is that online, Adventurers League? Let me pull up a link to it. I gotta drink some water. My fucking throat. Actually, you know what? There is a I actually know someone who works at a place where they host one-shot campaigns, like a certain night of the week every week, and I could do that. But like again, I don't trust people. No one is enforcing mask requirements, so like I don't want to go be around people unless it's like a disabled only parking or whatever, you know what I mean? Yeah, I think that you would be fair in criticizing me, Francois, for being so concerned about mass shootings that I wouldn't go to a bar. Like, if it weren't for COVID, I would probably want to go to one right now, you know? Hey, Christy, what's up? Personally, despite feeling trapped and very alone and misunderstood, I've never been tempted to try any substances. I just cope with food, which isn't really any better. My antidepressants increased my appetite, and now I'm pre-diabetic. That's why the sugars and stuff can be so harmful. Hi, are we talking about loneliness? I'm an expert. Precisely because meeting new people is hard is why it helps with social anxiety. That's not what I'm asking at all. I don't like this. Social anxiety is not what I'm concerned about. Like, I'm asking about the neurological effects of loneliness on health. Like, social anxiety is not what I'm talking about here. Oh my God, people are so active in the chat. I'm having a hard time catching up. Loneliness, they say, is as bad as smoking for your health. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm curious about here. Yeah, and Kansas is not exactly a bastion of queer acceptance. What do you think about the misinformation from Project Veritas? Project Veritas is one of those weird right-wing things, isn't it? Project is fashion. Yeah, that's what I thought. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they had a problem with misinformation for sure. Okay, I think we should maybe try to kick into some news, because we have gone over an hour now on the talking about random subjects. Although, like, I will say, like, having a huge addiction conversation at the beginning of stream is not exactly like a chill thing, but it is important to recognize those issues within our community and, like, discuss solutions and stuff. Huge part of queer isolation is that we have a harder time finding community than the general population due to the isolation of queer people from conservative hate groups, leaving us feeling unsafe. Yeah. Haven't been to a bar in a year because the last time after my friends went separate ways, I was straight up chased by a man to my car, which was luckily close, and I got in to lock my doors in time. Hashtag drinking while trans. Yeah, I mean, seriously. This is the first time I joined stream late and we're not in the middle of any news/drama. Well, I mean, usually we keep the beginning segment pretty short, you know? Oh, now we have to be serious. We're not going to be totally serious with the news today because some of the news is just comical, okay? Then I think that we should probably start with, like, laughing at Elon Musk. Does that sound good? Because Dave Chappelle brought on Elon Musk, and that sounds like something that we could watch together, because I haven't watched it yet. I'm desperate to make new friends, and I've been going to some LGBTQ-friendly spaces, but it's difficult since I'm introverted and not very outgoing, so making friends is still a very slow and frustrating process. I mean, yeah. I'm like, oh, no. Yeah, we're gonna have fun laughing at Elon Musk. He got laughed once for, or wait. He got laughed at twice. I'm down for the segments. Honestly, the health talk was a bit too heavy. Yeah, sorry. I have a hard time not getting off into the, like, heavy subjects because I am dealing with a lot of them. Like, yeah, sorry, like, the addiction thing is just, like, a thing that I'm about to really have to fucking spend a lot of time figuring out in my own life this winter, you know? "10% booze tops," he'll tell you. Okay, yeah, let me drink some water and maybe drink some coffee and get the stuff queued up, and we'll start talking about Elon Musk. If you're here and you are having a good time, consider hitting like on that stream button over on the YouTube page, because that always directly correlates with getting an influx of new people into the chat. So I appreciate it. It's just a teeny tiny little thing that you can do for free to help the channel. I found this one where he was laughed at in 2021.
I have too much work on my plate.
Shush. Like, this just looks like a selfie recording. Okay, we'll look at it in a minute. Elon gets booed off stage. Oh, baby, we are so ready. Yes, 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 yes. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, etc. Etc. Channel's been doing incredible this last couple months. Like, thank you all so much for being here, for hanging out, for sharing the content, for hitting like, for leaving your comments. Very much appreciated. Now that we're back, the content is going to probably just continue to be like a regular thing that comes out on the channel as well. Can anyone here tell me why people are so bad faith towards Natalie Wynn and Lindsay Ellis? I asked because a new video came out by an unnamed YouTuber who recently doubled down on their false accusations about Jess and Xena, quote, psychoanalyzing / diagnosing them. Is that Miss Orchard being shenanigans again? I would not have expected more shenanigans from Miss Orchard, but I would not be surprised. Okay, I'm gonna drink a little bit more coffee. Probably gonna refill my water too. Actually, probably a good call. All right, I'm gonna refill my water. You all should get some water. Maybe get yourself a snack. And then we're gonna come back and start having some news. Oh, baby. Canceled by bronies. What? Oh my gosh. Queer people are put on a pedestal by the community, so anything we do is hyperanalyzed even when we are just as human as anyone else. That's why bread tubers tend to get extra hate from right-wing trying to portray us as hypocrites. I'm a brony, who should I cancel? Yeah, Max points out marginalized people who are too scared to be angry at the powerful take their rage out on other marginalized people. Yeah, this is why I'm not friends with SJWs anymore. I'm like, you people are fucking insufferable. Ugh, gosh. Okay. Let me get my headphones on. By the way... Oh, yeah, thank you. Thank you, actually, a fungus with the gifted tier 1 sub to Christy. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, they said. Thank you for continuing to eliminate the scourge of white names in chat. They all look the same and deserve conversion. Excuse me. Thank you. If someone's messing with Fluttershy, I'm gonna cancel them hard. You all also have the option, if you're interested, to check out the Amazon wish list where you could buy me curtains. There's still hundreds of dollars worth of shit that I need in order for this place to be like decent, you know? Like, we need curtains, we need fucking all kinds of stupid bullshit, frankly, at this point. Any backdrop updates? So I think what I want to do is do the vines, and actually on the Amazon wish list, they have their vines are on there. At some point, I might just pull the trigger and buy them myself, but it's not going to be until after I pay my rent. Like, I'm doing no further I've already used my credit card this month to buy like the most that I'm comfortable using my credit card, because I have to pay it off like soon. I don't want to have like a bunch of interest, you know, on my credit card. So like, I am officially this month not buying any more shit that is not like an immediate, real big need. Goodwill and yard sales are good for that stuff. Yeah, I go to Goodwill on a regular basis. I haven't seen like the vines. And like, also you have to consider that if you get shit at the Goodwill, it's going to be covered in fucking It's like those little silk leaves are going to be covered in dust. Though fuck Goodwill as an organization. Yeah, you're right. But I do go there. And also it's the absolute wrong time of year for yard sales because it's fucking December. So, but yeah, if you're interested in helping flesh out the rest of the background, donations are accepted, and also Amazon wishlist. Okay, so this, you know, we're just gonna have fun with this part. We're not gonna take this too seriously at all. Ooh, okay, maybe we'll just do that. So Elon Musk was at a Dave Chappelle show, right? That's who, yeah, it was Dave Chappelle who introduced this. Oh, does this also say 1 of 4? There's like multiple videos. We're missing part 3 of 4 though on this guy's channel for some reason. But I didn't realize this went on for like 5 minutes. Or is it just like from multiple different angles? It might just be the same shit from multiple different angles.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what happened? I want a shoop, thank you! With the $15 dono, just feeling appreciative of the positive community you've built, so thank you. Thank you! Honestly, that's awesome. I'm gonna add that to the thingamabopper. Hell yeah. Yeah, the Salvation Army sucks too. I will not go to the Salvation Army. Like, even if they have the cheapest shit, I will not go there. Like, it's so much worse than Goodwill. The stream has very good vibes. Thank you. Okay. So yeah, I think that this is all like the same events, just from different angles. So let's just laugh. Like, that's really all I want from this section of the video. Like, I just want to lull. I wish to lull. Doesn't Salvation Army do conversion therapy? They require you to renounce your relationship if you're in a gay relationship and you want to seek shelter there. They also let a trans woman freeze to death on the sidewalk rather than humanely housing her. So, yeah. They're bad. They're very bad. Okay? Anyway, let's just enjoy this little stupid thing.
But I don't want to hurt you. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for the richest man in the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for the richest man in the world. Like, oh, great. We're really excited about that. Halfling Rogue. Jesus Christ. With the 4 gifted tier 1 subs, I've been very much enjoying being a part of this community, and I appreciate y'all. Thank you. Oh my god. Seriously. I'm very stoked about the idea that I'm going to be just able to pay my bills predictably. TBH. We're running out of white names, though, like, for sure. He fucked Tesla's stock so bad he isn't the richest anymore. Okay, hold on. I'm going to take this back over here. Dicks? True. True. Okay. Let's continue. So he just said the richest man in the world, whatever, blah, blah, blah. That kind of sounds like a lot of booze. Test donation, please ignore. Okay. That crowd does not sound very happy.
Cheers and booze, I see.
Cheers and booze, I see. Like, Dave Chappelle is trying to, like, lighten the mood a little bit, I guess. Oh my gosh. You people are insane right now.
Elon.
Hey, Dave.
It's It sounds like a lot of booze, to be completely honest.
Controversy, buddy.
It's good. There's more booze. Like, there's more and more
What
booing.
expecting this, were you?
What did he say?
What expecting this, were you?
Weren't expecting this, were you? Was he talking to Chappelle?
It sounds like some of them people you fired are in the audience.
It sounds like some of those people you fired are in the audience, he says.
Hey, wait a minute. Those of you booing.
What did he say? He said something. He just said something like, "Those of you who are booing."
Hey, wait a minute. Those of you booing.
I couldn't hear the first part of what he said. Holy shit, Dave is slurring. Yeah, he does drink during his sets, doesn't he? The guy who's holding the camera, I think, right now is whooping. Elon's just standing there. Hold on.
Tough road ahead, like sounds like.
Tough night ahead, it sounds like, is maybe what he said. Oh, hey, wait a minute, who are you booing, is what he said. Okay, thank you.
But you notice one thing, all those people are booing, and I'm just pointing out the obvious. You have terrible seats, and I understand.
These are the wrong headphones for this. Hold on. I don't like having to use these over-the-ear headphones because they fucking suck. By the way, if you know of any over-the-ear headphones that are actually big enough to like cover your ears, like to be like off, like instead of being small and like touching your ear and like smushing the top of your ear into your face, like let me know what your favorite model of headphones that actually like don't touch your ears are. Venkyo headphones? Yeah, because these are so uncomfortable. But I also can't hear for shit. So we're going to try them out. Sennheiser. Yeah. I might try some headphones on at Micro Center or something. At some point. Okay. I like mine, but I have tiny ears. Yeah, it's just that it's like touching this part of my head. Okay. But I can't hear what he's fucking saying, so we'll try this again.
But you notice one tough road ahead, like sounds like. But you notice one thing, all those people are booing, and I'm just pointing out the obvious. You have terrible seats, and I understand.
He's saying all those people who are booing, they have terrible seats, which is like basically saying like you have cheap seats, like you're poor. You have the worst seats in the house because you're poor.
All coming from way up there, niggas, the last minute. Now I'm playing the niggas. Boo! Boo!
Yeah, and then he said that they're, if you put on headphones, how are we supposed to hear? Haha. When you make this a segment, like, I don't think this one's gonna be a segment. I really just fucked around this one quite a bit. Like, this one is not enjoyable. Like, I can already tell this is not going up on the channel. Dave thinks attacking his own audience is such a good idea. Yeah, he keeps doing this. He basically just saying, like, all the people in the nosebleeds. All those people who are booing, just pointing at the enemies. Is that what he said?
I'm just pointing out the obvious.
He said, I'm pointing out the obvious, that they're in bad seats. Yeah.
Boo. Listen.
The guy is really determined to make sure that someone is being heard as a cheer. No, he's insinuating that they're poor. It's not that they're upset that they got bad seats. It's like only poor people would boo Elon Musk. That's what he's trying to say. Any seat there is a bad seat. True.
Whatever. Look, motherfucker. This nigga is not even trying to die on Earth. Come on.
All right. Hey, stop trying to play fucking Adam Sandler's 8 Crazy Nights, YouTube. Jesus. But yeah, someone said, I saw someone post that, like, bringing Elon on stage to have him booed for 10 minutes is the funniest thing Dave Chappelle has done in years. And I was like, lol. Yeah, why even have those seats if the poors are so disagreeable? I think the crazy thing is that I bet that even the cheapest seats in that house were still like at least $100. But if you're fucking Dave Chappelle, it probably doesn't mean a lot to you. Like $100, you know, it's like not expensive. And if $100 is expensive to you, then you're poor and your opinion doesn't matter. Kind of seems to be his prerogative, is like, I think that poor people don't matter. The minimum for that show is $300. Oh my God. What a baby. Like, what a little tiny bitty baby boy. Both of them. Bitty baby boys. The worst part of capitalism is having unfair privileged people thinking that everyone who's not rich is somehow lesser for being poor due to a fucked up system that rewards sociopathic behavior. I think maybe I may have inserted some words in there that made less sense. Contempt for the peasants, much like Marie Antoinette. Right? Right. Yeah, if it's a banana, what could it cost? $10? I can't believe that tickets to that show are $300. That's fucking crazy. I cannot imagine. God, I mean, I honestly can't imagine paying more than $60 for a comedy show that I really want to go see. Like, that's like $300 is crazy. And people tell me that I'm fucking working for handouts. Where I'm sitting here, I'm out here like, I hope I can make $100 today. That would be great. I would make like $300 a week on stream if I made $100 each stream. That would be cool. And out here, he's fucking like, it's a $300 a seat minimum. It's crazy to me. It's like kings and queens complaining how uncivilized poor people are while ordering executions. Yeah, like who defines what uncivilized means? They would have to pay me a lot to see Chappelle and Musk together. $300 would not be enough for me. I think I would sit for an hour at a Chappelle show if I was being paid $300 to do it. I think $300 would be worth an hour of my time. I think that it would be worth an hour of my time for $300, you know? Which is not me saying that I'm willing to do sex work, to be clear. I love a class system. It works so well. I know. I can't verify, but it's at least probably around $175 for the minimum seats. Can't find that specific show's info. I think it probably depends on the city, too. Like, I think that if you do a show in New York City or LA, you're going to charge more per ticket than if you did a show in, like, Kansas City, Missouri, you know? It would take $500 to put up with Chappelle and additional $500 to put up with Musk for 5 minutes. Well, yeah, and I'm sure the venue also makes a big difference, too. The best comedians IMO are YouTubers. I want to hone my funniness craft for sure. I would really like to be more funny. I think I'm pretty funny already, but I'm mostly funny to myself, which honestly is the most important thing, but still. Gosh. Comedy peaked with Fozzie Bear. I didn't see Fozzie Bear. I'm going to accidentally end up recreating a bunch of jokes. Who right now even has $500 expendable income? Not me. Nope. I have like maybe a little bit more than $500 that I'm holding on to for rent right now. The best comedians are depressed queer and or POC people. Posted peak comedy on the Discord. Oh no, Max, what have you done? What channel is it in? POC people, yeah, I was just reading. Flew for sharing, okay. Oh god, there's a lot in here that I haven't looked at. Hold on, where are my headphones? Okay. Now I get to wear dorky ass fucking headphones the whole stream.
We've got a lot to get through, and I want to introduce our special guest here. It's Paul Barnes. Hello, Paul.
Hello.
Now, regular listeners to the podcast will know who you are because you've been a guest before, haven't you?
Yes, about 18 times.
That's right. But for newcomers, just explain a little bit about who you are and why you're here on the podcast.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on your show again.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. I mean, we always get a little bit of a spike in the numbers when you're on the show. So.
Oh, just a little one. We'll need to try harder.
yeah, it's just a little one, but yeah.
But yeah, no, we've known each other for a long time because Ron hooked us up. Do you remember?
That's right. That's Ronald Wright from the Two Rons Don't Make a Right podcast.
That's right. And then you appeared on the first ever episode of my podcast, the Paul Barnes
podcast.
I
did. That's a great pleasure.
Oh dear.
It's a great podcast.
Thanks very much. Yours is great too. In fact, do you remember when you were on Otto's podcast and you were talking about how you started your podcast?
Yeah.
I was listening to that and I thought, oh my God, that's so funny because you mentioned that Phil from the Phil and Abby podcast subscribes to my podcast. And I never knew that.
Ah, yes. I just wanted to say, actually, before we get into that the last time I was on your podcast, we talked about doing a live episode with Phil and Abby.
That's right. We did.
And I think we should definitely do that. I think the four of us would have so many interesting things to talk about.
Absolutely. I was saying this to Franco on his podcast, Can I Be Franco? If you just get interesting people in a room together and hit record, you're going to get a hit podcast.
Yes, indeed. And talking of hits, one of the biggest hits in boilers this year has been the Kelex Condensing Oil Boiler. Compatible with HVO biofuel, the Kelex Condensing Oil Boiler can result in an 88% reduction in carbon emissions. Visit the website today. So, when was the last time you were on?
Episode 94?
Right, so not last week, but the week before.
That's right, yeah.
Yes, that's right, because last week we had the wonderful Jerry Bishop.
Jerry!
Who of course we both know.
Yeah, I was on his podcast last month, I think.
Me too, and he was saying on the brilliant Wallace Fogarty podcast.
Oh, I love that podcast.
Oh, me too. It is so good.
So good.
Actually, just before we get into that, have you listened to Wallace Fogarty's other podcast?
Not yet, but it's on my list of podcasts to listen to.
Oh, you have to listen to it. It is absolutely amazing. It's almost amazing as the Kelex Condensing Oil Boiler, which is compatible with HVO biofuel.
All right. Yeah, that was pretty good. I feel like I am just not a podcast person. Like, I feel like it is a whole subgenre of human that is like a podcast person, and I just am not that. Is this Slay the Dragon? No, it is not. Dave Chappelle tickets are on me tonight. Yeah, Jim C. Stuff like this is why I use podcast apps that make it easy to skip ads. Yeah, I just feel like I hate podcasts because they're all like that. Yeah, isn't it so masturbatory? And every person with a podcast has like an additional 3 podcasts. Like, okay, I guess I can't bitch too much because I do have a podcast. And I would probably be open to being on other podcasts, but we don't have any relationships with any other podcasts. I like fiction podcasting like Welcome to Night Vale. I enjoy Welcome to Night Vale. I listened to the beginning of it at least. I feel like I want to listen to more of it, but I also feel like if I really was that motivated to do it, I would have done it already. One of those things. Link your podcast, Lux. Is it on here? There's a link in the description of the live chat channel. Wait, is this not a podcast? No, it's not. Put it in the bot. Was it supposed to sound like put it in the butt? Because it did. Yeah, I do need to fucking... Where is the link to my podcast? I gotta find one. Anyway, hit like on the video since we're paused for a second, doing a thing really quick. I have a podcast. Here's the link to my podcast. Butt is censored. Yes, it is. I see, Max. You're sneakily just going to take credit for that one, huh? Add podcast. Want a break from the ads? Want a break from the existential weight of capitalism? True. Okay, there we go. Now I got one. We got a link to the podcast now. All right, thank you for insisting that I do my job, Max. Our most recent episode was an episode where we were both sick. So that was fun. I would boo Chappelle for $300 an hour. I think I would do that. All right. Well, that's kind of like all I had to say about Elon Musk. I think that we could check out another news item. God, it's been almost 2 hours. I am so fucking slow today. We're taking a very languorous way through the episode today. I'm working on like sleep and stuff, so maybe we'll even be able to go for a longer stream today. Who fucking knows? I do everything I can to avoid ads anywhere and everywhere and pay money to creators I can afford to support. I agree that that's the way to do it. Like, at the very minimum, you can't bitch about ads if you're getting free content, you know? Like, if you don't like the ads, pay for YouTube Premium, you know? It's winter. Let's be cozy streaming. Do we want it? Well, I'm about to talk about serious stuff, so maybe we shouldn't cozy stream for the serious news that's going to go on the channel later. I was like, should I go get my blanket? Because do you know Peppo Comfy? Actually, I'll just go get it for funsies. I'll be right back. So you all know the Peppo Comfy emote, right? Can we get some Peppo Comfies in chat? This is why Peppo Comfy has rainbow blanket. Because I has rainbow blanket. And it's so snuggly and comfy. And it makes me feel warm and fuzzy. Yes, yes. Can we just call him E Lonely and Musky? True. Cozy. Our ad revenue is literally less than $1 in a month of watching ads, so better to just pay money to content creators and not to Google, and use Brave and Sponsor Block to block Google ads so Google doesn't get the majority of the money. True. But yeah, this Peppo Comfy. Oh my god, excuse me. Oh my gosh. Nathan says, all you people criticizing capitalism are wrong. Capitalism is awesome. You know what else is awesome? The Kellex condensing oil boiler compatible with biofuel. Oh my gosh, why is that? Why is Honk? He's a muskrat, guys. We have to abuse him so we can get his scent and sell it for a fuck ton of dollars. Okay. Ooh, it is so... It's so nice. Oh my goodness. There we go. Now that's on the giant fucking beanbag chair thing. I do think I thank you, Decoy Duck, again for that. I think it needs at least 10 more pounds of stuffing inside of it, though. Lux burps. I do burp sometimes. Comfy? No. No smuggy chat today. No. I do, man, I need to like figure something else out about my apartment being cold though, because I would like to be able to take pictures for Fansly, but it's hard to do when it's fucking cold in here. That's why I need curtains, y'all. Like, honestly, I need curtains because they're gonna keep my apartment warm. Like, the thermostat is in the center of the apartment, and then there's like windows on both sides, right? And then like the like thermometer is in the center of the house, so like the windows are shitty windows, so it gets cold from the outside of the house scooching its way in, and I just end up chilly a lot. It takes a while for the cold air to reach the thermostat thing in the center of the house. So I'm debating going and showering just to warm up at the moment. Yeah, I can't do that because it'll dry my skin out though. I do have an electric space heater. I just don't want to use it constantly. I think I have an electric space heater. The curtains are definitely going to help keep things solid though. Fans could help by circulating the air. I've tried that. I don't know if it's actually going to be that effective, but I have tried that a little bit. Blackout/insulated curtains are a good idea for old windows. Yeah, I have blackout curtains on the Amazon wish list. If you want to help me with that. Like, I have to wait until January before I can make any purchases like that. I got a heated blanket 3 days ago. It is divine. I stuck the heater in my bedroom because it gets ungodly cold in there at night. Also, all the energy from fans eventually becomes heat. Learned that in thermodynamics class. I mean, yeah, of course, it's generating heat for sure. My heat bill was $350 last month. My house is leaking or something. Just kill me. Holy fuck. See, that's the other thing is like, I don't know what my energy bills are going to be like. This is my first month in this apartment, and I'm like wearing a bunch of layers and not having it be as warm as I want it to because I don't want to have like a huge energy bill at like either the electricity or the gas as I'm like running an electric space heater and my heating constantly, you know? You know what's really good for keeping an apartment warm? The Kellex condensing oil boiler compatible with biofuel. You got to work it in. Like, I appreciate the little work it in there, very brief ads. The like brief 5-second, just mention it. You can't realistically skip this kind of ads. I like it's just a respect the hustle kind of situation, you know? Yeah, you should put the AC unit away at this time of year. When I get my own place, I'm buying thousands worth of comfy queer fabrics, so I'll never have to feel cishet ever again. I wish that for you, Jim C, for sure. Okay. What else do we have to talk about? I'm just having so much fun. Like, oh my God. We have oh yeah. We have another fun thing before we have to talk about anything serious. I forgot about this. Oh, ooh, I'm excited. Okay. This is an update. All right, hold on. Let me get this thing all ready here. All right, hold up. All right. We have an update to a story that we covered a month or two ago about a couple of track runners, and one of them got upset at the fact that she didn't place because there were trans girls in the race who just did better than she did. She placed like I think 8th, and if she had placed 7th, then she would have moved on into the next section of the race or whatever. But she didn't. She got 8th place. So she already wasn't that great, though. Like, we're talking about someone who is upset about the fact that she didn't get last place, basically. You know, not last place, but the last place that could qualify, because trans girls were running in the same race and they happened to be faster than her. So did 5 other cis girls happen to be faster than her. But of course, that's not the subject of the lawsuit. She did try to sue. If you recognize this girl, like you should recognize this girl if you were here a couple months ago when we talked about this. This girl on the left is the one who was suing the girl on the right, or rather, she was suing the school and their like policy. I think was what actually was happening. So, yeah, I think this might have been the tweet that we were looking at before. In 2018, the cis girl on the left came in 8th at a high school track event, and then the trans girl on the right came in 1st place. The cis girl went on to earn 5 state titles, qualify for nationals 4 times, and now runs in Division 1, whereas the trans girl was pushed out of sports altogether. However, the white girl is still suing the black trans girl. But good news. This loser bitch who lost her race also lost her lawsuit. She is a loser. She is a chronic loser. That's all she can do. She's taken L's left and right. That's all she is now. So the Second Circuit Court of Appeals rejected the Alliance Defending Freedom's challenge to Connecticut's trans-inclusive athletics policy. The court found that the ADF's plaintiffs lacked any standing to challenge the inclusion of trans students. As it was argued in court by Josh Block, the judge found plaintiffs simply failed to prove that they were harmed in any demonstrable way by the participation of transgender athletes. The court rejected their demand for monetary damages or altering records of races with trans students. They really, really, really wanted them to go back in and change the fucking records of who participated and who won based on this shit. Here we go. Here we go. So plaintiff's theory of injury, in fact, that the policy deprived them of a, quote, chance to be champions, fails because they have not alleged a cognizable deprivation here. All 4 plaintiffs regularly competed at state track championships as high school athletes, where plaintiffs had the opportunity to compete for state titles in multiple different events. And on numerous occasions, plaintiffs were indeed champions, finishing first in various events, even sometimes when competing against these trans girls. Plaintiffs simply have not been deprived of a, quote, chance to be champions. Like, damn, that's solid. I am very gratified by that. You can read the whole ruling if you really were into it. I'm probably not going to do that, I don't think. Well, I don't know, like, is there anything interesting in here? I doubt it. I honestly doubt it. Plaintiffs' appellate are 4 cisgender female students who allege that the policy disproportionately disadvantages cisgender girls as compared to boys. The district, disadvantages cisgender girls compared to cisgender boys, I think is what that's trying to say. Yeah, so they're just like, sucks to suck. You are bad at racing in some cases and good at racing in other cases. Like, that's the most damning thing, I think, too, is like in the same, like in a set of events, they were winning some races even against these girls, even specifically against these trans girls. But man, keep taking those L's home, ladies. It sucks for you to be running fucking D1 now 4 years later, while these trans girls like probably not only are like boxed out of sports, but like realistically, they're black trans women. They're probably boxed out of like a job and a regular lifespan. So enjoy your D1 racing. That was a pretty brutal way to end that segment. Hey, Holland James again. How's it going? Yeah, Violet, that's another really good point. Loving how she doesn't instead focus on training so she can try again. She's spending all this time on a lawsuit. Maybe she can't accept that the real issue is that she sucks at running if cis people are beating her too. Stuff like this is why sports, to me, should be about personal growth and rewarding improvement over your past attempts. Yeah, as opposed to being a competitive thing where, like, some people, you know, like, you're literally, like competing for limited space. Don't forget all the cis women in pro sports who constantly get falsely called trans. Yeah, there were like 5 women all at the same time. You all remember Caster Semenya, the news about Caster Semenya, and how like she tested with a high level of blood testosterone, and then they did chromosome test and found out that she was XY, but still cis female, like just with slightly elevated testosterone levels, which actually is like, I don't actually know if her XY thing has anything to do with her hormone levels, because the chromosomes don't actually mess with your hormones if you have ovaries. Like, if she has ovaries, then she just has the same kind of normatively high testosterone, quote unquote high testosterone, that black women generally tend to have. I've done a little bit of very, 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 very scant research about this, but like very, very basically, black women in general tend to have a slightly lower amount of one of the types of estrogen, and I think a slightly higher amount than a certain, at least one type of testosterone in the system, compared to like the averages of white women. And I believe that there is a similar slight difference between black people, like black men and white men, that you can get high T just from having polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is pretty common. Yeah, for sure. Like, that's considered a difference of sex development to some people. Like, I would not be surprised to find out that TERFs were going to say that people with polycystic ovarian syndrome also can't participate in sports unless they submit to medical limitation of their natural hormones. Like, the reason why, like, 5 women at the same time as Caster Semenya, maybe it was Caster and 4 other women additionally, were all tested around the same time, and all were disqualified either from participation entirely or from running in certain races, and they were all African women. We're talking about people like not allowed to do the Olympics because of their natural testosterone level, and like because black women are not considered part of the control group when these norms are established. So there is just like additional layers on top of this. Yes, I did finally move out. This is the new place. I am working on getting it soundproofed and everything. Check out the Amazon wishlist if you want to buy me a housewarming gift. Also, hello, Beth Harp. How are we doing today? Oh, another sidebar. If you've not yet hit like on the video, please consider hitting like on the video, because it immediately tells YouTube that it should show this to other people. The walls need more grink, just like chat. Yes, there is going to be more background stuff. Like, basically, I think that this entire wall is just going to be vines. Like, if you want to buy them for me on the Amazon wish list, that would be great, because otherwise I'm not going to get them until next month. Unless, like, miraculously I find a bunch of fucking vines at Goodwill and they're not shitty quality. I don't know. But anyway. I've been around, but this is my first time here. Nice. Welcome in, honestly. The sports are all about pushing people to feel superior based on factors they're born with instead of personal growth, because of literally the Nazis and how they set up the Olympics in the first place. It's been a while since I looked into the establishment of the Olympics and how it's changed over the millennia that we've been doing it. The problem is I forget to buy stuff from the list and instead just blow my wallet on your subs. It's still helpful. I'm just gonna wait personally to spend the money on the stuff. And like, there's other stuff that I need in a more immediate sense too. Like, I recently had to buy like a kitchen trash can and a fucking broom. Oh, Beth, you were the one who asked about the isopods because you have tarantulas. Nice. Yeah, I really want to get a macro camera so that I can show you guys pictures of my pods. That would be really cool. But that's like a little bit lower down on the list of priorities, is like a macro lens for my phone so that I can take pictures of my pods. But they're doing well. They enjoyed the move, I guess, well enough. Like, I managed to keep them from being shocked by the cold temperature when I transported them. Wait, Lux, you don't have a broom? I have a broom now. I didn't before. Did you play sports in school? I did. I played a few different sports, partially because my mom kind of forced me to be in an extracurricular activity every fucking night of the week. So yes, I did. I did all kinds of sports, actually, in high school and middle school, frankly, and over the summer. Man, really, honestly, like, respect to my mom for, like, working hard at raising me and shit, but, like, wow, I really could have done with, like, having a couple nights of the week where I didn't have shit that I had to do. And it would be like you'd go to practice right after school or whatever, and then fucking immediately have to go to a separate other extracurricular activity that starts at 7 p.m. Like, oh my God, it was crazy. As I understand it, the original Olympics were a means of diplomacy to have the city-states hang out and maybe blow off some steam without killing each other. Kind of like a rap battle, but with athletics. Like, wasn't the main thing about the original Olympics wrestling? Like, they would do the naked wrestling covered in grease. That was like, wasn't that the original only sport? Was I good at sports? I mean, I was fine at it. I was like, okay. I was in band, choir, and drama, no sports, just a lot of masking. I was in orchestra, choir. Like I'm just talking about like before I moved out of living with my mom. Like, this is all the shit that my mom made me do. I was in choir. I did orchestra. I was a member of Job's Daughters. I did softball during the summer. I did volleyball and track during the school year. I never did basketball or anything like that. Yeah. And I was in martial arts. So I would have like, it's like a karate, like, like mixed martial arts thing that I would be made to go to sometimes. So, and then on Wednesdays, I was in like partial custody for my dad. So like I would go to my dad's house on Wednesdays and then every other weekend. So like I had a fucking packed schedule. And then after I moved out, the things that I chose to be in were like, I chose to be in orchestra still. Like, I wanted to be in orchestra, and I did theater, but I dropped everything else. I didn't do... Actually, did I do sports in high school at all? I don't think I did sports in high school at all. I think it was only middle school. I took karate and piano classes. It was all private outside of school. Did not join team sports. I was treated strangely in locker rooms because I was, quote, the gay child in middle and high school in the 1980s. Yeah. Yeah, anyway, good night, Violet. Or like we might still be here later. I don't know. We're taking forever in this stream. I think the original establishment of the Olympics was like 2,000 years ago. Like, I could see there having been some changes to sports and how they're done, but like, we certainly were doing Olympic sports for a long time before the Nazis existed. partial visitation takes up so much time, that feel. I mean, that wasn't a bad thing to me. Like, I wanted to see my dad. My dad was the good parent of the two. But I was just saying, like, that is like I had a full schedule. I would have like sports practice right after school, and then I would do like karate on Monday night, and then on Tuesday night again sports practice right after school, and then immediately go to choir. Wednesday nights go to my dad's. Like Thursday nights it's something fucking else. Friday nights half the time I go to my dad's. Like, you know, and also like get home and immediately do my homework because my mom made me do my homework as soon as I got home. $50 dono from Chum Guzzler. Thank you. Hey, I really appreciate that. Even though we're kind of talking about nothing in particular right now. I still appreciate it. Yeah. One. Yes. Okay. Good night. My good parent is just the lesser of two fuckheads. I think that that's the case for a lot of people. I will not say that my dad was perfect, but he was my good parent. Like my mom was physically abusive, and my dad was like the person that I went to get away from that. So not to get into it too deeply, because we just don't really need to do that today. James Somerton had a video a couple weeks back about gay body image that goes over what the Nazi Olympics did to our beauty standards. It's called The Gay Body Image Crisis, and it's really good. I am gonna pull that up. Not to watch with you all right now, but to watch it on my own time later. Because we still have news to get through today. James Somerton. Yeah, I'm finding it. It's not on YouTube, apparently. Am I missing something? I'm trying to find it. I really am. I promise. Slaps Hungry Bears found it. Okay, thank you. God bless America. Oh my god, every once in a while I just become hyper aware of how fucking echoey it is in here, because really it is. I don't know if you all can hear it. Do we still have the buzzing sound, by the way? Someone was saying that there was a buzzing sound. And I hope that that's gone, because I forgot to check and see if it was happening still. Audio sounds good on my end. Okay. Someone had said last stream that there was like a weird sound happening at the end of my words. But someone else was like, are we sure that that's not just vocal fry? I'm like, it could just be vocal fry. A very slight buzzing sometimes. I mean, that's still not optimal. I don't hear the buzz like last time. Okay, spectacular. James needs more support since he gets constant death threats from everyone all the time. Yeah, I really, I am not very great at having community with other trans and queer creators. I think that we should probably try to do that more. Like, I don't know Jesse Gender. Like, I don't know most of these other trans creators. Like, but that's me as a small creator saying, like, we should band together. And that, like, obviously very directly benefits me, you know? Do you want to know why I bring the offensive tranny up all the time? I don't know. Are you him, Holland James? Are you the offensive tranny? And you really want to do a collaboration? I don't know. I don't know why you bring it up all the time. Didn't he get canceled recently over giving some minor criticism to Nebula? I knew that someone was criticizing Nebula, but I didn't know what for, just because I saw that Jesse Gender was like, Nebula has always been good to me as a queer creator. I will never be on Nebula because I will not do video essay content. I am a streamer. That is what I do. I am good at this. There do seem to be a lot of death threats and dogpiling recently. Good grief. Okay, I'm gonna queue up the next little ditty and see what there is to see. We are gonna save the Marjorie Taylor Greene segment until last, but we do have serious news to talk about other than that right now. Because this country is just getting increasingly genocidal, so we're gonna do a trans-specific segment and then a more, like, general segment about purity culture and shit in this country that's a little bit less like targeted at us, you know? Damn, I gotta go in 20 minutes as I'm on my lunch. No worries. I should probably catch up doing the VOD uploads. I don't have my normal pieces of paper on my desk that I use to make notes and stuff, but I need to remember to do the VODs later. I still get MTG confused with Cardboard Crack. I know. I also did see the slander essay on Vosh from Old Man Londra, or Londra, whatever. Hello, Gay and Play. Good morning, or whatever time it is. Someone who doesn't have any familiarity with anime was trying to say that Vosh is into lowly because he likes anime generally, and just being generally very uneducated and kind of stupid, but whatever. Don't worries. No worries. I am now officially living in Atlanta, so that's neat. That's awesome. Gay and Play. I am officially living in my tiny little fucking apartment. My tiny little chilly apartment. Where I'm wearing like layers of clothes to stay cozy warm. All weebs are now pedos. True. Oh my god, so true. I feel like I'm leaning too far into the frame, and that's part of the issue. I'm still working on getting like everything correct here. Do you live in a giant slot machine? Thankfully, at least it's a broken slot machine, so it's not like the moving parts are not really moving. Won't be here the whole stream because it's VR setup day. I hope you have fun. I think I got like a burp coming. No? Okay, cool. So, as usual, scary things happening in Texas. It's been just more and more things from these southern states over the past few months. In this instance, Texas has been making some anti-trans moves. They've been trying to make it to where it's illegal for trans kids to get health care, specifically related to their transition, and like to specifically also make it legally child abuse in order like to provide them that care, which is not ideal because it means you're just going to start stealing kids from supportive families, forcibly detransitioning them in the foster care system, exposing them to potential danger, like sex trafficking danger and stuff like that. Like, yeah, so it's been bad. And then additionally, we're receiving news here very recently that Texas has made like a list of trans people who are there. Like, Texas Attorney General's office requested data on the number of Texas who in recent years had switched their gender on driver's licenses and other state documents, reported by the Washington Post. We are on Reuters because they don't make you pay for the articles. The Post reported the report was based on a public records request on the internal communications within the Department of Public Safety related to the Attorney General's office request. The DPS is the agency that issues driver's license and other state documents. The motive behind this request, which was made in June, so this was 6 months ago, sought the data of those who switched genders in the previous 2 years, and the request is the motive is unknown. The paper reported that advocates for transgender Texans are worried the Attorney General could use the data to further restrict their right to transition, that it would have a chilling effect. it would have a chilling effect to secretly harness personal information to persecute already vulnerable people. Scary. This also comes at a time when leaders in Republican-led state have focused on trans issues, including investigating families of trans youth for child abuse and passing a bill to ban trans kids from playing sports that don't align with their gender at birth. This is not the first time this has happened either. Oh, wow. An interesting... so a spokesperson for DPS told the Post that an initial search found 16,000 instances of genders being switched on driver's licenses and other documents. So some of those could be repeat. Like a person changes their birth certificate and their driver's license could count for 2 of these. DPS determined that a more thorough manual search of records was needed to get an accurate figure on gender switches on documents and why such switches were made. Why do you want to know why the switches were made? It's fucking apparent why the switches were made. Get the hell out of my business. Ultimately, no data was delivered by DPS to the Attorney General's office because an accurate account was not possible, says a spokesperson. He added that they could not say who within the Attorney General's office had made the request for the data. So I guess they did not succeed. December 14th. Today's the 18th. So I guess they did not succeed in receiving this information, but they could have gotten at least partial info. An initial search did find a bunch of gender switches, but no data was delivered by DPS to the Attorney General's office. So I guess that's good. Like, an accurate count was not possible. But they've been doing this for a while. Yeah, they attempted to gather a database of all trans people in the state. The use of registries has been proposed in several states now. Yeah, we watched this before when this lady at the Florida meeting was saying like, oh, we should for real, like, you know, we should for real start a registry of all the trans kids in the state. So some school districts like Hanover County Public Schools in Virginia have already adopted registry-like policies. The state of Florida considered the registry. Ohio has similarly considered a bill that would create a registry of all trans people in the state. So yeah, Republicans are attempting to create databases of trans people, and it's pretty obvious that that's like, it's genocidal. You know, I don't want to, you know, as per usual, I'm not trying to exaggerate for effect or anything. It's just a real fucking problem. Like, it's a real serious issue. Hanover County Public Schools is using a registry process to gather info on all trans students that want to use bathrooms which correspond to their gender identity. We know what the next step is after minority groups are meticulously tracked. Yeah, I don't want to be tracked. Like, it's bad enough that there is a record of me having changed my gender fucking 6 years ago or whenever that was on my driver's license. You know, I haven't... Like, I wish that I could turn it into an X, but then it would be obvious even if somebody... Yeah, genocidetimeline.jpg. I really did consider pulling that up just then, but I didn't. I think the bureaucrats passive-aggressively refused to provide the data for the registry. I mean, that I would hope that just, like, bureaucratic non-compliance from people who mean well toward us could be good, potentially. Yeah, they want us to think that it's not a genocide until the Holocaust actually happens. You know, why? I wonder at what phase in the process they made fucking lists of Jews, right? Just get all the trans people out of Florida and break the whole peninsula off to sink into the ocean. I mean, yeah, in this particular instance, there are times when you can use the bureaucratic process to accomplish something good, although I guess you're fundamentally still using the terrible mechanisms of bureaucracy in order to accomplish those goals, but still, I'll take it, because there's just I run out of things to say. Like, I don't know what to say at a certain point with this stuff where it's like, I am scared of what is going to happen to the people in Texas and all these other places where these lists are trying to be made. Like, not all of these places have been successful in curating lists of trans people, but Hanover County Public Schools tried to do that, and they're trying to do that. and some other places are talking about doing it, and that's just not positive. If Pakistan gets that list, I will be on it. Right. So we are just gonna keep trucking along, keeping an eye on things, I guess, and supporting our comrades who need to get the fuck out of these places. Yeah, we should be opening up lanes to get people away from these environs. Like, how do we do that? I am a little tiny streamer boy with, like, who works for tips, and I will do what I can to provide information and stuff, and, like, I'll post people's GoFundMes and shit when they're trying to move out of the state or whatever, but, I just don't know, like, what else I can realistically do. If I made $100,000 a year, like, I hope that you all know that if you all get me to a point where your donations are getting me to a point where I can well more than afford everything that I need to keep myself going, like, yeah, one of the main things that I'm gonna do is, like, I'm not gonna feel as restricted when people are like, I need some money for my GoFundMe. I'm gonna be like, okay, cool. Queer women, trans men, like trans people in general, like queer people, I'm gonna start funding people's shit. I really just want to get to a point where I'm stable enough to, like, just be functional. That's, like, my main goal. But if I do get to a point where I have way more money than I need, like, I'm not gonna hold on to it. People think that Auschwitz fell out of the sky like the fucking Bhagavad Gita. Just start a GoFundMe that'll just pay for people's Greyhound at this point. True. They definitely did make lists of Jews, epileptics, and anyone with disabilities or anyone who disagreed with the Nazis. Then they publicly identified them with the stars, etc., and we all know what happened next. Yep. I should get, like, a pink triangle tattooed on my forehead so that people will stop forgetting that trans and queer people were killed during the Holocaust. It's so deeply irritating to me when someone's like, how dare you appropriate the struggle of the Jews? I'm like, go fuck yourself, bro. At least Jews got fucking reparations. So I bring up the offensive training all the time because he's basically a trans man version of Blair White. They both identify as conservative and socially liberal. He says, I am not part of the LGBTQIA plus community. I'm part of the LGBT community. 99% of his content, he talks about how non-binary isn't real and says, I will never refer to a singular person as a they, them, and I will never apologize, and it pisses me off. Yeah, it's fine. I'm not worried about it, Slaps Hungry Bears. He did post it again, but that's because I didn't read it before. Queer people have and always will be here. We're spontaneously emergent. Like, what are you gonna fucking do? Yeah, I just try not to think about people who piss me off a lot. That's one of the things that I try to do is, like, not consider people who are deeply irritating. Queer people often got freed from the camps only to be sent to prison in their own countries. Yep. Immediately, like, freed from the camps, sent directly back to prison. We need to set up a third-party system so that Peeps and Callie and others can buy meds and repackage them as Pokemon and send them to Texas. I cannot confirm or deny any approval of such. How long before they start taking kids away from parents who are transgender? I mean, yeah, like, how can you be around your own kids if people think that you're grooming kids? Like, how could we possibly study whether this was a hereditary trait? Nobody will recognize this as a genocide. Even after they come for our lives, normies will never acknowledge something as awful as a genocide on American soil. Anybody who doesn't fillet this country is anti-American, and systemic killings doesn't fit with our gilded image. I think that we're engaged in multiple genocides right now, and that, yeah, most Americans don't want to think of their country that way, because the stupid thing is that, like, people who are born in America are taught that their identity is somehow related to this country, and it's not. Like, this is frankly, it's really funny that I'm going to say this right now, because the fundamental idea that I'm about to convey to you is an idea that I got from Peter Coffin, who now sucks ass, and also, amusingly enough, has gone and like done exactly what I'm about to describe. So Peter Coffin, I appreciated because Peter taught me about like constructed identity, and like the idea that like Marvel versus DC is like a consumer identity that is being cultivated for you. And it's like, you know, how much are you really consenting in this situation? Like a lot of little tricky things like that. Like, you shouldn't allow your identity to be constructed for you by a company. You shouldn't allow, like, you shouldn't put your personal investment in NVIDIA versus Radeon, or like NVIDIA versus AMD brand video cards, you know? Like, why would you let that drive you? Similarly speaking, like a sports team is another consumer identity, more predicated on location, but still, it's a consumer identity. You're meant to buy tickets. You're meant to spend your time watching the show where they have the advertisements and stuff. It's a cultivated consumer identity. And broadly, like expanding upon that, I think that we've also been kind of had like a construction. I can't talk. A constructed identity around being American, where like the idea that you were born here has anything to do with who you are as a person, and that like that reflexive tendency to say like we had slaves, or like we passed a law. It's like that's not me passing the law. That's the government. Like, why do I reflexively say we? Like, why is my personal identity as an American, like why do I even have an identity as an American, right? Like, do I have an identity as an American? These are all like interesting questions. And like I said, it's funny because Peter Coffin seems to have doubled down on like being a patriot, and I think that being a patriot is like one of the ultimate consumer constructed identities. I'm doing stuff within my community in Ohio because a lot of our people won't get out, or won't know they need to get out while it's an option, so I'm making sure they've got backup brick by brick. It's scary, but people just don't think it's that bad. Yeah, how long until, say, non-consensual bottom surgery is imposed on intersex people from birth? Oh, wait. Isn't Peter Coffin a Nazbol or something? Yeah, I don't know the details. I do know that some people posted like some screenshots of some of the prose from his new book, from their new book. Excuse me, that's my bad. And like, wow, the prose in that book is... it's impressive in its mediocrity. Like, I'm like, wow, is this what book publishing is like? And like, I am insecure about my writing, but Peter Coffin posts this drivel. Like, wow, the flow and the sentences here don't really work. Oh gosh, my eyeballs. Okay. So here in a minute, we're going to start talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene. And that's going to be like the last important thing that we have to talk about today. Or don't have anything else to talk about today. Or it's not just Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's a two-part segment talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene, and then we're going to talk about Mike. What was his name? Mike Lee, Senator Mike Lee. Because it's kind of like two moral panic things that are happening like at the same time. And you know we love to cover moral panics on this channel because we're degenerate fags. Is everybody enjoying being a degenerate fag today? I'm having a great, great, great time. 2 chuds for the price of 1. Exactly. German officials identified Jews residing in Germany through the normal records created by a modern state. They used census records, tax records, synagogue membership lists, parish records for converted Jews. Yeah, that all makes sense to me. I mean, yeah, like using the changing of official documentation, like normal state documentation, as like a means of tracking people is what's like being attempted here. Yes, everyone having a good time. Somewhat less than usual for some. Okay, always. I'm going to my monthly BDSM party tonight, so yes, very nice. Queer degenerate deviant reporting in. Yeah, they do. You're right, Mersh. They do tend to, these transphobes who are like against mutilating children, quote unquote, are totally for forced surgery on intersex children because it's okay, I guess, to normalize them, even though those surgeries often result in unnecessary sterilization, which seems to be the thing that they're so concerned about. Specifically, the definition where fag means disabled person who is a burden. Yes, I'm having a damn good time here. Oh no. Hell yeah, Halfling Rogue. There are vibes in the next section. That's so true. All right, drink a little bit of water, babies. Happily a queer degenerate. So happy as a queer degenerate. My phone is buzzing. Is being poly as a cishet white guy enough to be a degenerate fag? It depends on who you ask. I would say that you're a degenerate, but I would not necessarily say that you're a fag. Dr. Pepper counts as water, right? Especially diet. I mean, technically you do need the salt. So I won't begrudge you that. We love Marjorie Taylor Greene because she is our favorite lol cow. Like, honestly, she is just constantly finding even more ridiculous things to get upset about. You know, we're kind of used to all of the bullshit about anti-trans. Oh, you're groomers. Oh, you need to use your Second Amendment right to protect your kids from the drag queens. Like, we're used to that by now, okay? It's been going on all summer. But she has more eclectic range of things that she takes issue with, all right? So today's moral panic from Marjorie Taylor Greene, brought to you by Walmart. Walmart, many of your customers in my district are reaching out to me about sex toys being sold in your Dalton store. They're extremely upset and absolutely horrified that sex toys are being sold openly right next to children's toothbrushes. This is grooming. These people are just like determined to not be able to use language in a way that is mutually intelligible. Like the grooming, the constant, like calling everything grooming, like it really is an obfuscation that makes it hard for people who actually do grooming, like education and trying to solve the cases and stuff. Like actually trying to find groomers out there in the world is much harder when you constantly dilute the definition of groomer. So yes, they are actually right next to children's toothbrushes in this case. I will say, like, I don't really know that children are really purchasing their own toothbrushes. Like, if the kid is getting a toothbrush branded like these guys, like, that kid is probably still sitting in the cart, you know, still sitting in that little front thing in the cart. And, like, yeah, they do this thing where they're kind of, like, patterned over or grayed out. Like, you can't actually see what the thing is aside from just the silhouette outline. Are these, like, store brand? Is this, like, the Walmart brand vibrating stroker? All right. And then down here we have Astroglide, which, to be completely honest, like, you have always been able to buy lube and condoms at the store, and those are very obviously sexual material. And sometimes they might even be in the aisle with the kids' toothbrushes, but that's not what the moral panic is over. The moral panic is over the vibrators, although I would not be surprised if they would be mad about that. But yeah, like, what kid is going to even notice this, much less ask about it, much less be able to read it? Like, again, kids this age with, like, the Pixar and the Raya and the fucking Little Mermaid shit, like, these kids are going to be, like, not reading very clearly yet. They're still gonna probably be having a difficult time with the reading. Please don't buy Astroglide though. Yeah, horrible chemicals. Don't buy Astro. Yeah. Let's see. And this is just, yeah, like lube and toys are now being sold both in the same aisle instead of just lube and condoms previously. Tush Kush, what the fuck is that? So she's going to continue freaking out about that. The pharmacies here started selling sex toys and people had an outcry, and over time the pharmacies just stopped, mostly because people order their toys online and don't want to buy them in public in a pharmacy. I do think that I would not want to purchase my toys at a Walmart. That's just me. Like, I don't think that I would want to do that. Where did stream go? Halfling, I think that's for you. Yeah. Stream died for a second. That was weird. IDK, what happened? Stream is doing okay for me, as far as I can tell. There's cannabis-infused lube. I have heard about that, yes. Sliquid H2O or Sliquid Silver. H2O is safe for toys, and silver is silicone and is meant for anal. Enjoy your safe sex. True. All right. So yeah, they're just like the moral panic over vibrators and the toys. So she's continuing on here. Selling sex toys openly where children are exposed to them is wrong. Here we go. Is wrong, inappropriate, immoral, indecent, perverted, shameful, and incredibly harmful to children. Why is Walmart participating in the grooming and sexualization of children? Is this in all stores or just Dalton? I at least haven't noticed any sex toys at the Walmarts that I've been to recently, but that's maybe that's just my problem. Like, selling sex toys openly where children are exposed to them. They're not really exposed to them. They just are on the shelf, you know? Like, wrong, inappropriate, immoral, indecent, perverted, shameful, and incredibly harmful to children. Like, you can say it's immoral, I guess, like, based on whatever. Like, I don't know, do you have, like, does it say something in the Bible about vibrators being inappropriate for children? I don't think so. It kind of seems like, for the most part, children get married off at very young ages in the Bible. And there are definitely, like, children who have sex in the Bible. As one dude gets, like, seduced by two of his own daughters. I don't know how old they were, but that's what I'm trying to say. Incredibly harmful to children. Like, demonstrate the harm, bitch. Like, that's so frustrating to me. I find it so irritating. It would be extremely beneficial to children if we could make sex more normal and not so sequestered and shameful. Like, right, like, again, like, all of this altogether makes it much harder to talk about grooming because, like, if the kids are, like, ashamed of sex, then they're going to be more likely to think, oh, I did something by being molested by an adult. Like, they're gonna think I did something wrong, instead of being able to just talk to you about it and be able to communicate things clearly and everything. Did she ever bitch about the lube and condoms next to toothbrushes? I'm not sure. We can continue on the thread for sure. She says, I don't care how big your corporation, how much money you have, how powerful your lobby is, how big and powerful your political influence is. I just don't care who you are. I will always stand up firmly for what is right and do everything I can to protect kids. I cannot comprehend how we got to this place where people think they have the right to force sexual adult issues on children. Again, they're just in the store. Like, something just existing in the store is not something like being done to your child. Like, again, this is actually the same kind of mentality that's like, people shouldn't be in drag around children. Like, they're trying to say, like, someone existing in your general vicinity is forcing something on you. Honestly, I would not be surprised if Marjorie Taylor Greene, like, at the end of the day, also thinks that gay men should be bashed for holding hands in public, because by holding hands in public, you're making me think about all of the degenerate sex that you have. So you should not be allowed to hold your hands in public, because I'm thinking about the dick going in ass and I don't want to think about that. So you should just not be able to exist in public. Like, all of these thought processes are the same. Once you start to recognize these patterns, these people think they have a right to a world without certain kinds of people in it. They think they have the right to a world without gay people in it. They think they have the right to a world without trans people in it. Like, They think they have a right to a world without Muslims in it. And they think they have the right to a world where sex is cloistered away and hidden and not spoken about in ways that are productive in any way. You do not have that right, because no matter how hard you try to twist your perverse ideas into reasons any of this nastiness is okay, you are wrong. I mean, like, so here's another thing. You're about to learn some things about little old Luxander here. I started masturbating when I was like 7. Not because I was sexualized in any manner. Like, I was not molested or raped or groped or anything as a child. I just started masturbating like when I was like 7 or 8 years old. So honestly, I would have probably benefited from having some like conversations about masturbation at a young age, and like conversations about how to do things safely. Because I'm sure that I tried to do things that probably weren't a good idea in terms of masturbation. And like sometimes you try to put stuff inside you that probably you shouldn't have tried to put there. You know what I mean? Like when you don't get the proper education, and in this instance, the proper toys. Like frankly, if you're a person who really cares about abstinence, you should provide your teenagers with sex toys. Like if you, like as a parent, right? If you have a kid who is like 14 or 15 and really horny, and like you want them to be able to be the horny without feeling like they want to go out and do the fuck. Frankly, I think that you would curb a lot of teen pregnancies if you gave teenage girls vibrators, because the vibrator, frankly, is going to do way more for them than their teenage boyfriends ever could. Like, frankly, I think that it is a good thing for public health. Sexplanations had a good video on improv sex toys. Yeah, it's been a while. Like, yeah, as a parent, you should probably provide your kids with sex toys just because safe ones might be out of their budget and they'll get cheap, terrible ones made from plastic. Yeah, or use the hairbrush handle or something, right? Yeah, like you guys get it. You frankly should try to provide your kids with safe alternatives, including masturbatory aids. Like, I don't like the idea that kids shouldn't, like, when I say kids here, I'm referring to teenagers. I should be more specific with my language, because obviously I don't think that young kids should be exposed to sexuality, whatever. But at the same time, yeah, I was like 7 or 8 and I was masturbating, and I could have done with having some conversations about that. And like taught how to be safe and taught how to keep my body clean and stuff like that. Like all these kind of things would have been useful. And it's weird to me, like, is that a really irregular experience? Like, is it very irregular to feel like sexual and want to masturbate like before the age of 12, like before puberty really happened? Like I still didn't start having periods or anything until I was like 13. So for like a number of years prior to that, I had the urge to masturbate and I was doing it. And I just don't think that that's like a problem. It's a lot more common than people think. Like, I know that my brother was like probably like 9 or 10 when my mom was like telling him off about touching himself in the middle of the day, you know, like I remember feeling so shameful about masturbation as a teen, but also not really knowing what it was or what I was doing. Yeah, I wouldn't have stuck my dick in a vacuum if someone had talked to me about it. It's atypical, but not abnormal. Yeah. If you find that your children are masturbating, just tell them to wash their hands before doing it. So there, yeah, it's, I guess, I don't know how common or uncommon it is. Probably a lot of people don't talk about it because it's fucking weird. But like, in a completely like, my adult self is totally separate from this child self. Like, I'm not talking about like me interacting with a child like this or anything like, but when I was 7 or 8, that's when it started. All right. And I think for sure as a teenager, because I lost my virginity when I was 14, like I was hypersexual the entire time and I like wanted to have sex and I wanted to do that. And if when I was like, when I was 13 and dating someone who was way older than I should have been dating, my mom should have been like, okay, I'm just going to get you a vibrator instead of letting you run around and date. Like what she did instead was put me on birth control and have no conversations with me about what I was doing. So yeah, I just think that we should actually encourage more conversation about this rather than less. From Google, occasional masturbation is a normal behavior of many toddlers and preschoolers. Up to a third of children in this age group discover masturbation while exploring their bodies. Often they continue to masturbate simply because it feels good. Okay, yeah, so it's cool. Like, it's not... Yeah, and the important distinction being it's not exposing them to sexuality, but rather providing them safety and info once they reach those stages on their own. Yeah, it's, like, tough because you have to provide, like, a way to talk about it before they're like finding out about it and confused, because they might be exploring their body and you not knowing about it because they don't know, because there's like generally a societal sense that your body is shameful and you shouldn't talk about it. So you actually you do have to proactively intervene on those messages. Like my mom would just be nude after her showers while she was drying off in the house, and I was really uncomfortable with that because I had absorbed the ideas that female bodies were like inherently sexual or whatever, and I felt like uncomfortably sexualized by that. But what she wanted me to learn from that was that women's bodies are normal and nudity is okay. But that's not what I learned from it, and it made me feel bad and it made me feel weird and uncomfortable. So yeah, like having the conversations is really important in my opinion. But anyway, let's continue with Marjorie Taylor Greene. The district I represent is firmly opposed to any and all grooming and sexualization of children. Like, just that's just not what's happening. It's largely Christian and conservative. We believe in protecting our kids from perversions and raising them with good moral family values to the best of our abilities. We believe in preventing our kids from being able to have the vocabulary to tell us what their uncle did to them. On behalf of my district, I am demanding Walmart resolve this issue immediately. I sincerely hope this is not common product placement in your stores and that the employees responsible will be reprimanded. I do not believe this repulsive grooming represents Walmart. Like, I guess I would say that, like, probably the condoms and the lube don't need to go next to the children's toothbrushes. Like, that's probably, like, I feel like those things could maybe be separated at least by, like, one display that is not sex related, you know, like, I will, I guess, give them that much, but, oh my gosh. Yeah, Slaps Hungry Bear is adding that, a lot of sex predators do use toys, and younger kids might not know exactly what those are if they are censored from it. It could help with red flags and avoiding harm. For sure. Preventing access to information in these kinds of situations is only going to result in more actual grooming and danger for children. That's all that it's going to do. Yeah, poor placement, but it's not grooming. Like, to be totally clear, grooming is intentionally and deliberately, over a period of time, targeting one child and their family sometimes in an attempt to ingratiate yourself in a position of trust with that child so that you can then inappropriately be sexual with them. That's what grooming is. Grooming is like you pick a target and you try to make that target into something that you can play with. Like, you want that target to want you. And it's like a manipulative power situation. It looks like they may have run out of space. Yeah, I'm not going to speculate too much on that. But related to this, so we're having this moral panic over the existence of a product in a store. A very censored product. It's not like to be clear, it's not like any of these products look like dicks either. It's not like there's a big old fucking silhouette of a dick and balls on the front of this packaging, by any means. So, right, like, I just don't understand what the fucking problem is. Normally, lube and condoms are placed in prominent areas to prevent theft because of the embarrassment. So, yeah, related to this, we also have Senator Mike Lee, who has introduced a bill which would remove porn's First Amendment protections and effectively prohibit distribution of adult material in the United States. Let's look at this. So the Interstate Obscenity Definition Act, let's see if we can make this a little bit bigger, So this says obscenity is not protected speech under the First Amendment and is prohibited from interstate or foreign transmission under United States law. But obscenity is difficult to define, let alone prosecute, under the current Supreme Court test for obscenity, which is the Miller test. The origins of the Miller test date back to 1957 when the Supreme Court gave the prurient interest test laid out in Roth v. United States. Prurient means related to sexual. It actually means overly zealous sexual interest, but they use the word prurient seemingly to just mean any amount of sexual interest in this document. Jim C, thank you so much for the $15 dono. Says topping off tonight. God damn it, I really appreciate that. You all are just being too fucking good to me right now. Seriously. Thank you so much. All right, let's resume this. So according to the Roth court, material was not considered obscene unless, quote, to the average person applying contemporary standards, the dominant theme of the material taken as a whole appeals to the prurient interest. So that's like, yeah, full green bar. Thank you guys so fucking much. So yeah, this is saying, according to the Roth court, material is considered obscene if to the average person applying contemporary standards. So like something really focused in on ankles could not be considered porn on its own right now, because according to contemporary standards, ankles are not erotic. All right. The dominant theme of the material taken as a whole appealing to the prurient interest. So for the next 20 years, the court struggled with refining the Roth test, causing strong dissents, court splintering, and lower court confusion at the applicability of the standard. So then in 1973, the Supreme Court sought a new test for obscenity in the case Miller v. California. So the Miller test defines speech and expression as obscene if, so I think this is the current establishment here is under this Miller test, the current way to establish obscenity. The average person, so if the average person applying contemporary community standards would find that the work taken as a whole appeals to the prurient interest. So I guess that also means like if you have a sex scene in a movie that the movie is otherwise like an action movie, then that wouldn't count as like the whole of the work applying to the prurient interest. So, or if the work depicts or describes in a patently offensive way sexual conduct specifically defined by the applicable state law. Okay. So I guess the thing that I just said about the action movie with the sex scene, it would not count if the sexual conduct was patently offensive, or if the work taken as a whole lacks serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value. That is extremely subjective. And also, I think that this could be challenged on the scientific value precipice because of there could be you could demonstrate a scientific value to, for example, masturbation, and then basically just say like accessing pornographic material is healthy for the same reasons that masturbation is healthy. So that could potentially be. So I think it's if any of these three things. I don't think it's all of these three things, although I would have to actually check the Miller test. So it's obscene if, oh no, I guess it has to be and. It has to be and. So it has to qualify all three of these things. Thank you for clarifying that, I am Max. So it's obscene if all three of these things are all true at the same time. The average person thinks that the work appeals to the prurient interest and the work depicts in a patently offensive way sexual conduct, and the work taken as a whole lacks serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value. So as we consider the application of the Miller standard to the internet, we run into serious challenges. Which, quote, contemporary community standards should be applied? Yeah, that's a good question. Is the gay shit, like, not going to be okay? But I don't know. I think this is against all porn, even straight porn. Like, I don't think that this particular moral panic bill has anything specifically to do with queer people. Yeah, but it's just cracking down on sexual activity in general, like non-normative, according to them, sexual activity. So what applicable state law should be applied to determine patent defensiveness? Yeah, if it's on the internet, like whose applicable state law applies. So because the internet is, quote, a channel or instrumentality of interstate commerce, Congress's current obscenity prohibitions are severely diminished. So in response, Senator Lee proposes the Interstate Obscenity Definition Act, which would establish a national definition of obscenity that would apply to obscene content that it transmitted via interstate or foreign communications. The bill specifics. So the definition of obscenity, it defines obscenity within the Communications Act of 1934 as content which, taken as a whole, appeals to the prurient interest in nudity, sex, or excretion. So this is going to be and depicts, describes, or represents actual or simulated sex acts with the objective intent to arouse, titillate, or gratify the sexual desires of a person, and taken as a whole lacks serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value. I mean, if you just make a really artsy porno, with like romance in it and a plot so that it has some literary and artistic value, does that make that porn okay? You're just gonna force people to become way more creative about their shit here. This is almost the end here. So this bill would also strengthen the existing general prohibition on obscenity within the Communications Act by removing the, quote, intent requirement that only prohibits the transmission of obscenity for the purposes of abusing, threatening, or harassing a person. There can't be a shark in the pool? I know. That is why porn has plots to literally escape obscenity laws. That's really funny. I hadn't, of course it makes natural sense. Like, if part of it is like, taken as a whole, there is no literary, artistic, political, or scientific value, like, all right, cool. So that way you could say it's not as a whole appealing to the prurient interest in nudity, sex, or excretion. That's really funny. Like, the prurient, like so videos of people shitting on other people, if they are for the specific interest of appealing to the prurient interest, the sexual interest in excretion, then that's not okay. Yeah, do a chemistry experiment in your porn to add scientific value. True. We're doing a scientific experiment. I'm going to see how long it takes you to get me pregnant in my boy hole. Like when femboys try to get preggers. That would make it so they could label LGBTQ stuff as pornographic and ban us entirely from media. Right, like, yeah, because they do, that is the sneaky thing, is like content which in whole, like, has something to do with prurient interest in nudity, sex, or excretion. Like, I guess technically speaking, if you made a movie which as a whole is about gay love, like it's a gay couple, let's say they kiss but there's no sex scene, right? So even more vanilla than most, like, or not, I shouldn't say vanilla, that's not the right word I was looking for, but like even more censored and clean than plenty of romantic comedies about straight people where there's a sex scene, like they're tearing off each other's clothes. If the movie is about a gay couple, because of that conservative reflex to say two men holding hands in public makes me think about you fucking each other in the ass, like, you could, I guess, technically say that like the work as a whole is appealing to the prurient interest. I'm not sure, like, how the thing is, these things get written this way so that they can be applied in a lot of different manners. Like, they really, they try to, as a whole, shut the fuck up. They really try to write these laws in such a way that they can apply to whatever they need them to apply to, which is why the Don't Say Gay bill, like, it doesn't even say gay in the bill. Like, that's the whole fucking point. God, people are morons. Anyway. Okay, yeah, conservatives will literally do a Holocaust instead of going to therapy. Absolutely true. What does this bill do? Does it strive to ban all porn? Yeah. So the idea is that, like, any communication over the internet is going to be subject to these obscenity laws within the Communications Act. Like, so the goal here is to make it so that like, I guess technically already speaking, obscenity is not protected free speech. So then it's just about defining what does obscenity means. Like, in the same way that you can't threaten the life of the president of the United States, like, that's not free speech. Free speech is also limited in the sense that, like, you can't do insider stock trading. Like, if you know that someone is about to if some news is about to drop about this company that's going to make their profits drop, you can't tell anyone who knows, like, anyone else that you know who has stocks in that company, because then they might, like, you know, use that information to, like, it's considered like restricted speech. You don't want to, like, give someone a heads up to sell their stocks while they still cost good money. So yeah, the point here is to make obscenity to, like, expand the definition of obscenity to where it would apply to porn posted on the internet, and subject it to the Communications Act, where it's like you're not allowed to host anything on the internet that could be obscene, like, which is like a broader crackdown than FOSTA SESTA. When FOSTA SESTA passed a few years ago, like, against, they were trying to ban sex trafficking, which is why Tumblr removed porn from the website, because it would basically mean, like, the website which is hosting the porn is liable to be sued and have criminal charges pressed against them for breaking the law about FOSTA SESTA, or in this case, breaking the law for obscenity. How much longer is the stream, do you think? Probably not a whole lot longer. I mean, we're kind of getting to the end of this segment, and we don't have a lot scheduled after this, and my voice is tired. So I feel like probably relatively soon. Oh my gosh. Yeah, if they literally named it the Don't Say Gay bill, they'd just say, how could it ban gay topics? It says gay right in the bill. They're paid to be obtuse. True. Would everything outside of a stripper bar become illegal? That'd make almost all sex work that exists nowadays illegal. Would phone sex lines become a thing again? I am curious about that. Like, I guess, yeah, phone sex lines might make a bit of a comeback, because I do think that technically does mean that, like, you know, even something like live streaming yourself partially nude, if you know that there are people jacking off to it, would be considered illegal. Like, I do think that this would basically make it to where all porn is, and so I guess, yeah, so, like, different types of sex work, including all, I think that most, if you're doing it online, you're, like, doing porn. Even if you're doing a live cam show, like, that is still doing porn. So yeah, like, basically any type of pornographic shit on the internet is gonna be scrubbed clean. And, like, even nudity, if it is considered prurient interest, we might not have, like, basic human bodies available to be viewed on the internet. Is RGR the lawyer for this guy? True. Yeah, for sure. This is going to make sex work more dangerous. It would push things underground. Like, I really don't think that this is going to pass, but it, you know, it's not good that this is the kind of state of the union, or this is the kind of shit that we're discussing when climate change is still happening. Like, just keep that in mind. Every time we talk about stupid gender bullshit, that these people are talking about stupid gender bullshit and fucking sex toys in stores instead of, like, climate change or gun violence, or the mass death that is still occurring from COVID, or the mass disabling that is occurring from COVID. I won't get on another COVID tangent this stream, but you should know that there is one always waiting. Would this bill affect hentai or digital content? Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's like, whether it's drawn or not. I wonder if some sex workers could claim they're just very poly with open relationships with sugar daddies. Well, this isn't going to really affect sex work offline. This is just going to, like, you still, like, I think that even if you're having a private thing, like, I don't, like, that might be even cracked down on. Like, I'm not sure. What, yeah, like, does it, if you send nudes through Facebook Messenger to your partner, would that be considered illegal? Like, that would be something that could be concerning. Like, not that I would want to send nudes through fucking Facebook anyway, but like, you know what I'm trying to say here. Yeah, most people, yeah, the community standard thing could be weaponized by saying, well, most people find queer people icky, so trans porn is considered obscenity. But again, I don't think that that's gonna, when it comes to porn, I think they want all porn to be outlawed, and that it doesn't have anything to do with whether it's queer or trans. But the definition of what porn is going to get expanded in a way that includes non-pornographic homosexual behavior and like trans people and stuff. We know Ted Cruz won't vote for it since we've seen his taste in internet videos. Yeah, what did someone just say? Something about Xander Hall? Yeah, Xan proved a while back that Republicans love tranny and fuda porn, so there's no way they'll let porn die. Yeah, I guess this guy Mike Lee is really... He's kind of sticking his neck out there. We can hope at least that the degenerates in the Senate who look up fucking fuda porn while they're like from their office computers, like I've seen some like experiments done where like you can see where in the White House or like where in the congressional buildings some internet pings come from, and like, yeah, they're like looking up porn while they're at work. Who doesn't? who hasn't? I guess. Oh my gosh. Who amongst us? True. All right, I'm basically done with that segment, so if we can probably like chill hang out for a little while longer, depending on what kind of subjects people have in mind. But other than that, like, I'm pretty much like ready to, I guess, start winding down and like get some fucking food and Among Us. I've made a lot of significant progress on this whole apartment situation. I got some like dishes I'd like to do. I'm here for the chill. Absolutely. I am actually like hungry. Nothing like accidentally opening Twitter to porn while you're at school/work. It was an adjustment period when Tumblr made porn illegal. Then I started seeing porn on Twitter with way more regularity and was like, whoa. And like, it's just normal now. Actually, interestingly enough, I noticed that after Elon Musk bought the platform that I don't know if it's that a lot of sex workers I follow left the platform or if their content just stopped being served to me, but I just don't see hardly any porn on the TL anymore, which is kind of sad because I got used to it. Food is good. I have house chores to do because adulting means weekends are chore days. It's one of the great things about being self-employed is that like any day can be a cleaning day if I need it to be, you know? And like, I'm working now. I'm here working now, and I'm going to get done with this stream, and I'm going to do dishes and cook and like sort through boxes of miscellaneous bullshit. I have my keyboard piano set up, and my guitar is out and ready, and like I'll pause every little while and like play a little bit of them. Honestly, bringing porn to Twitter is probably good and more normalizing / destigmatizing. I mean, honestly, I think that people would be a lot less... I mean, I don't want to create more chasers, but I do think that it helps to just view trans women as normal and like to like see them as sexual beings in their own element, which like you do get a lot of on Twitter, or at least you do. How are your bug buddies doing? My bugs are doing pretty good. No complaints really. They've got plenty of water. They've got nice, delicious food. They've got like space to run around in, you know. I put like a blanket over their enclosure before I took it over here, so they didn't really get a big temperature change between like the old apartment and then my car and then from my car into this apartment. So they're happy. You're making me envious of the isopod life. I mean, they have an easy life. It's true. They just scuttle around. Some of them roll into balls. They eat protein, and like, I gave them like some rotting pumpkin, and they're enjoying the rotting pumpkin still. Lux is a pod person. I am a pod person. I have a sticker of a roly-poly, and I'm thinking about putting it here, but I feel like this should be a place for queer stickers instead of for roly-poly stickers. I don't know. It's December, and I'm unemployed, so I do absolutely nothing and feel cozy. I mean, you got to do some kind of amount of dishes, right? Gonna be working on some homebrew in a bit. Oh, that's exciting. My daughter bought me a betta fish last weekend. I'm really enjoying it. I would kind of like to get a betta fish, but I did a little bit of research, and you kind of like minimum need a 5-gallon tank for a betta fish. And like you need water filtration on it. Like you really shouldn't just stick them in a fucking bowl. They need more space than it's in a bowl, and they also need more like clean water than is in a bowl. So I just don't think I could deal with the constant sound of trickling water as it's being filtered, and I also cannot afford and don't want to try to maintain a 5-gallon tank. Betta fish, true. It's peak hibernation period. Dishes are optional. Okay, that's good to know. I used to have a Madagascar hissing cockroach named Houdini, and she was the bomb. One of my friends had a snake called Houdini. No, I'm going to continue saying betta fish. I'm not going to say it betta. I'm not going to do that. Get a sigma fish. They're more autistic like that. What's up, Analia? Butta fish. True. If only trans women and trans femmes weren't always labeled as traps, ladyboys, femboys, trannies, and other such. I mean, yeah, it's not like we don't get that too as trans masks, but trans women definitely like have the bigger spotlight on them, and that's really sad. I mean, you know, I say that. I think that historically trans women have been more at the center, but frankly, way more of the rhetoric nowadays is pertaining directly to trans masculine people and saying, and the, you know, the misogynistic approach of like, and the paternalism of like, you know, how could you're too beautiful to be trans. Like, how could you throw away all of your whatever? Like, you know. Yeah, mice and rats are, you get too attached. Yeah, trans men literally had a movie about one getting killed like 5 ever ago. Yes, but I think generally speaking, there have been way more movies about trans women than there have been movies about trans men. Like if we're gonna play that card, we have Boys Don't Cry versus we have The Danish Girl and Hedwig and the Angry Inch and whatever, probably plenty of other ones. But I would say, like, with Abigail Schreier's fucking book and the ROGD, like, frankly, I do think that a lot of the TERF conversation is about women, quote unquote, biological women being, like, transed. I thought The Danish Girl was about a botched surgery, not murder. No, I mean, no, it's not about murder. I just meant, like, I was just saying, Slaps Hungry Bears. I just was saying, yes, we did have a movie about a trans man getting murdered. However, of the total number of movies about trans people that there are, we kind of only have that one. So if we're talking about visibility and who has it worse or whatever, historically, like in the past 30 years, I would say trans women are a bigger part of the conversation than trans men. But more recently, I do think that trans men are a bigger part of the discussion, where it's like, oh my God, these astronomical numbers of females suddenly identifying as trans. It's a social contagion. They're too stupid to know themselves. Like, I at this time, I believe that it would be incorrect to say that trans women get most of the attention and negativity, because they don't, I think, get most of the negativity and attention. It's equaling out, maybe. But like, you know, when was the last time Blanchard wrote a book about trans women being weird fetishy shit versus what are, like, you know, the more recent kind of books about no, and you're fine, Slaps Hungry Bears. But yeah, I just think that like the conversation has actually shifted quite a bit to where typically we would say that trans women have greater visibility, receive more of the threat. When you call someone a tranny, that you're referring to a trans woman or whatever. But like, no, men are much more visible nowadays in terms of like the being subjected to transphobia. Yeah. Female, like Iron Chainmail. I know. Iron Man is female. That's not an original joke. I think it's like hypervisibility versus hypovisibility. Yeah, I don't know. I think that idea that that trans men are hypovisible is based on a vanishingly few number of men who really, really pass very well and can stealth. Like most trans men, I think, don't pass easily. Like I would guess that the overwhelming majority of trans men don't pass easily. Trans women were historically the easy target, but now that they've found how to attack trans men, they're more than happy to shit on everyone. Yeah, I mean, just doubling down on the misogyny, for sure. Like, just absolutely cracking down on the misogyny aspect and just trying to... Yeah, I guess, yeah, you're right, James. Part of it being the idea that men and boys are disposable, but women and girls need to be protected. You need to be protected from yourself, even. Or you need to be protected from the medical establishment, which is going to convince you that medical transition is the right thing. And, oh my God, true, Nouvenant. Let's not forget the concern trolling over autism, making them too stupid to have a gender. As opposed to the probably more realistic truth that autistic people don't give a fuck about your stupid fucking rules. Bro, we do not care about your dumb fucking rules. Like far and away, we don't fucking care about your stupid ass rules. So that's why autistic people are more likely to be trans. Because probably there are a lot of allistic people, probably a lot of non-autistic people out there who have gender dysphoria, but the rules, they have to follow the rules. And we're like, fuck you, get out of my face with that shit. Like, we have dysphoria and we say like, well, what am I going to do to be happy? Fuck the rules. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, the gall to think that you know better than a trans person in making decisions that impact their survival and happiness, which has nothing to do with you. True. Healthy Gamer just put out a really good vid on autism and gender, pushed back on the quote, people are trans because they're autistic. I'm not saying that people are trans because they're autistic. Like, I think that plenty of people have gender dysphoria and that autistic people are just more likely to actually do something about it instead of just like living with it because it's more important to follow the rules. We have our own rules. Mine involve dice and drugs. Drugs equaling weed and ale. True. I haven't decided whether I'm getting another 6-pack tonight. I don't know. It's that time of day. It's that time of day where I start to really think like, am I going to drink later? And I'm like, I kind of want to. Get yourself some tea instead. I fucking hate tea. I'm sorry. I really tried. It's like fine, but I just really don't like it. Which reminds me, I need some sleepy time tea. Yeah, I guess we are kind of getting a little bit into the evening as far as this being a... We're getting close to the evening time for the European fans. Also, why can't I be a dangerous pervert trying to invade men's... Oh, why can't I be a dangerous pervert trying to invade men's toilets? Transphobia has such a misogyny thing going on. Yeah, we do really think that women just cannot present a danger to men. That's even really deeper. That's like, you know, the idea that men can't be raped and like that men can't be domestic violence victims, and like if a man is a domestic violence victim, you know, it's somehow his fault, you know, because, oh, why didn't you just stand up for yourself? Where it's like, yeah, but if I stand up to her and like I accidentally hurt her, then I'm a domestic abuser, right? And like I'm the man and nobody's going to listen to me when I say she started it. Do you really hate tea though? I know. True. I don't like tea either. I also don't like coffee or any drinks with alcohol in them. I like coffee, you know. I think coffee tastes good. And I like, maybe it's because when I was drinking tea, like every time I drink tea, it's like I just wish I was having coffee. Like that's kind of what my experience with tea is like. Every time I have tea, I'm like, why is this not coffee? Like, what is the point of this? I don't get it. I've had a TERF outright tell me, but women can't rape. I do think that they do genuinely believe that, yeah, in the UK, the laws on rape are only on unwanted penetration, so women can get away with rape. It depends on where you're at in the United States, but yeah, plenty of definitions of rape only specify penetration, and some of them even only specify penetration with a penis. So, like, frankly, if you were to use a sex toy to rape someone, it wouldn't be illegal in those cases. Or if you stuck your fingers inside someone, it wouldn't be rape. Or yeah, anyone with an itty. Yeah. I don't hate my tea. I just wish it had a dimmer switch. Spiro. But yeah, it's drastically different in all kinds of different places in the U.S. All these different laws about rape, and most of them are not comprehensive enough. Which, like, that is what RGR was arguing back in the day. It's been over a year. Y'all, it's been over a year since the Riley Grace Rochong versus Doe debate. And I feel like I need to revisit it sometime soon. Like, that's going to be my new holiday tradition. Like, some people watch Harry Potter, and some people watch Lord of the Rings as their holiday tradition. Like, my new holiday tradition is going to be watching RGR versus Doe debate, and then watching and then watching Vosh conversation with RGR, and then watching Demon Mama's coverage of all of that. Like, that's going to be my new holiday thing. Don't chat, Sparrow, I'll have to pee. I think it's also commonly assumed that women have no incentive to rape a man because sexual conquest is only a masculine thing. Spiro the Dragon, true. I just watched Demon Mama stream about it. Yeah. It's good to revisit once in a while, where you're just like, okay, we're just going to watch Riley Grace Rochong absolutely shit the bed. Wasn't Doe on that on a stream recently? Like, Doe might actually be back to streaming. That would be really cool. I didn't actually watch any of Doe's stuff before the RGR debate, to my chagrin. I missed that whole discourse. It's so funny. Like, it's just funny, if nothing. Like, it just is really amusing. And it's like hard to understand where RGR is coming from. Work was fucking dumb around then, so I wasn't watching streams as much. So here's how I consume content. I have YouTube Premium. What's it about again? It's about kink at Pride and foot fetishes in public. Like, Riley was going on this whole campaign about how you shouldn't wear kinky gear at Pride because children could be around, and that's like exposing them to something sexual, because wearing a pup hood is only something that you would do in a sexual context, I guess. And Doe tweeted, like, if your partner has a foot fetish, like, as an example, if your partner has a foot fetish and you go for a walk barefoot, you're not exposing children to sexuality or kink. Like, that's not what's happening. So that was kind of the framework of the debate. Like, that's what the subject matter was. And Doe ended up pointing out, like, you're basically trying to say that anything titillating, like Riley said, yes, that would be pedophilia. It would be pedophilic if you were around kids and you were barefoot because your partner likes feet. You're like, even if the kids don't know that something sexual is happening, even if nothing sexual is actually happening, if you're only building titillation, that would be considered pedophilic behavior. And I don't know if you know this, Slaps Hungry Bears, but like Doe is a CSA survivor. So Doe kind of like drops the fucking hammer later on in the, like, to be clear, there's a big fucking content warning late in that conversation if you never seen it. RGR mad over feet.discourse. True. We just got to do this every couple months. We just got to talk about it every couple months because it's fucking insane. Like, I know, like, right? Like, if Riley were to find out that I was talking about her on stream right now, she would be like, these people won't leave me alone. It's been a year. And I would be like, A, I'm not doing anything to you. And B, it's fucking hilarious. Yeah. Yeah. So the conversation is about whether, like, what counts as pedophilic behavior. But when Doe tries to bring up, like, the distinction between desire and action, and like the difference between like someone looking at someone with desire versus acting upon that person with desire, like, and then Riley keeps trying to shut it down, and Riley is really shitty about it. Like, so yeah, end of the stream gets a big fucking trigger warning. It'd be podophilic, true. But gosh, yeah. It's just fascinating. I think RGR is just like a weird Christian who just like has weird fucking psycho bullshit beliefs about sexuality. Like, I think that she hates that she's a trans woman, and I think that she hates that she's a lesbian because she would rather be cishet. Doe made me cry during the debate with RGR. She was sweet and incredibly honest. I think that it was like Doe. It was really calm in ways that I don't know that I would have been during that conversation. Like, Doe was really sweet, for sure. I still think about it at least once a week. I've never seen anything else put the puritanical attitude so obscenely on display. Yeah, and like Doe pointed out toward the end of the thing, like, if you think that wearing sandals that show off your toes to your foot fetish partner is pedophilia, then so is wearing high heels to make your ass look good, and wearing a push-up bra to make your tits look good, and wearing you could expand it into the Jordan Peterson, where it's like, you're gonna pull a Jordan Peterson and say like wearing rouge on your cheeks it shows, you know, sexual interest because normally your face would be flushed or something like that. Like, oh my god. Me holds a plushie because it gets my partner going. Riley, true. So it's fascinating to me. And like, I think it's also worth talking about Riley because she wants to be a politician. Like, I fucking swear to God, if she ever runs for office and we have to hear about Riley Grace Rochong, I'm going to be like, this is the worst person that you could have representing the trans community. Like, absolutely. I think assimilationists are fucking nightmares to deal with. Like, frankly, I really don't like assimilationists. I really only fuck with other queer people at this point. Oh gosh. It was so funny when RGR kept muting Doe, so it stopped listening to her. That was really funny when Doe like deafened itself. Thinking about how badass lightsabers are when held by a partner gets me going, and that's how I got banned from Comic-Con. Oh my god, true. Right, yeah, like how many people dress in a cosplay that gets them sexually aroused, or like maybe like or someone else just at the event is sexually aroused by it. Like, you're dressing as a character from a hentai, you know that there are going to be some people there who are going to get hard and who are going to want to fuck you. Like, I don't know. Lightsabers, yeah, I can't talk. That's what, at the end of the day, is what's going on. Thank you, everybody, for getting us to our stream goal for today. I really appreciate that. Like, being able to just, like, not worry so much about my bills being due is very, very good. Yeah, so much of that place is practically kink, and they let kids go. I know, all the sexy Evolution cosplayers, right? How many superheroes have like the boob window, right? Or the massive titties and the cleavage and the boob window, you know? Like, how long does a tier 1 sub last? It's a monthly thing, so it should just be like 30 days. I'd wager at least 10% of people at any Comic-Con are actively horny, just like actively have a rock hard, like, fucking mast all day. I mean, frankly, you're around a lot of sexy cosplayers, like, I could see that. Just gonna be like really, really too much for some people. Okay, my voice is really tired, and I haven't actually eaten anything today, so I'm going to go ahead and get working on that. I'm going to continue working on my apartment today, and I am, as far as I know, this is just going to be the usual schedule. We're back. We're back, babies. Like, we're back, motherfuckers. Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sundays, we're making it work. So, unless something fucking crazy happens, I will be planning to see you on Tuesday, where we will discuss more news, I'm sure. Feel free to join the Discord, and you can post links in the Discord if you have any news that you would like us to discuss on the channel next time. So I will be seeing you all at 6 p.m. Central Time on Tuesday. Good night. Hit the bell. Do the things.